Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Betrayed and Awakened Elden Ring Ashes of War Powers movie. Before we start, please go support Vitox44 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Legends tell truths, you just have to know which ones are true and which ones aren't. This is one that was forgotten by time but will now come to light again. Issei, who always gives his all to achieve his goals, will fall for the people he believed to be his family to awaken as a being with a destiny to fulfill. But that destiny will cross the sweet line of revenge while creating his legend. A legend that resurfaced from oblivion, the legend of the Sooty. Prologue. The world throughout history had many legends and myths that were passed down from generation to generation, which caused them to be modified throughout it, but what we all thought is that they were simple inventions of someone to gain attention. But what if it were not like that? If they really told the stories of fantastic and dark creatures, of formidable warriors who gave everything in their battles, of nations of great power and influence? What we will see now is not a simple story invented to entertain. It is the legend of a warrior who, from a very cruel betrayal of his acquaintances, was born a being who would be a powerful warrior, a noble king. A man who lost everything and got more from that. This is the legend of the betrayed warrior who will become the king of a certain forgotten nation, the one who did not fall for anything or anyone. This is the prophecy of Issei, the one from which betrayal was born, the person who will be known as the legend of the Sooty of War. Issei, damned and grateful, I gave my all, I fought in your wars, I fought your battles, and this is how you repay me. I would have let the Trihexa annihilate you that day. You don't deserve to continue living. He shouted in anger while he was chained in the middle of a court being judged by the entire alliance, as well as the members of his former group. Sir Shay, haha, do you really think that your miserable intervention in our ranks influenced our triumphs? All the credit goes to your brothers who, through their power, continued to give us victory in every battle we fought. You are nothing more than a hindrance who wants to be recognized. Azazel, did you really think that your intervention helped us in the fight we had? You are just a simple reincarnated without any power or ability. Instead, your brothers are carriers of powerful dragons, one being the Red Emperor and the other the Queen of Chaos. So did you really think that we would think that all this was because of your help? How naive you are. I thought you would be more intelligent at least. Issei, he says it, the idiot who fell for some bird. Michael, have more respect for my sister, you dirty liar. Issei, and here we have the idiot who believes that everyone is still pure. Tell me, old dove, do you think I would respect anyone after what they are doing to me? Because I would say that you are more of an idiot than you appear, and your sister is a slut. That will not change anything no matter how much you love him. Sir Shay, enough, now we will proceed with your sentence. You will be sent to Tartarus so that you learn to whom you owe your dirty vermin life. While that happens, I make it clear that Ryo Hayate's engagement to the Gremry heiress will be made tomorrow night with his entourage. You have one last thing to say before you are locked up. Issei, I actually have a lot of things to say, but this will suffice for now. He turned his head to the Gremry group, who looked at him with disgust and his brothers with arrogance. I hope you have an incredible ceremony. Everyone was surprised. Because after that no one will want to marry a slut like you, hitches and heat, ha ha ha. I hope your children aren't born like that. Don't you see how despicable their damn bastard parents are? Sir Shay, guards, take this trash out of here now. Issei, the fact that they take me doesn't make all of you less bores, and you're all idiots, lol. All the girls present were very hurt by what he said to them. They didn't know why, if he was nothing to them. But some of the girls who did love him were sad to see the brown-haired boy being taken to the Tartarus in that way. 3 months passed since that day. Most of the girls married Ryu, while Izari, Issei's other sister, started dating Kiba. Those 3 months many people congratulated them. They went with the Hayate parents, who accepted them for their son and Kiba for their daughter. Everything was going great for the supernatural, but in the Tartarus, in a dark and humid cell, you could see a handcuffed person. He had multiple wounds on his torso as well as his back. His eyes, despite being those of a wounded person, were also those of one who felt pure hatred like everyone else. That time he was there, despite being considered the weakest, he earned a title from the other convicts, the Heartless. That title was given to him because in just 1 month he had killed more than 15 jailers who went to see him to insult him, or beat him in addition to leaving many of the convicts who were there in serious condition regardless of their gender. He massacred them mercilessly. To be able to chain him up for the moment, they had to fight with him for 2 weeks until he was tired and thus easily capture him. Right now you could see at the entrance to his cell the leaders along with their brothers and their partners watching the dark cell without light. Sir Issei, guard shines light on the condemned man. Guard 1, sir, that's not a good idea, he hates the light. Sir Issei, and that's it, I want to see his face after so much time of suffering, so turn on the light. At that, the guard swallows hard and creates a sphere of fire to light up the cell, but when she brings it closer to the bars, a deep breath extinguishes it while the guard is scared since that was a warning from the inmate not to do it again. Guard, sir, this is not a good idea. Sir Issei just looked at it seriously, so she had to make the sphere again, but when she was about to create it she heard the noise of a chain breaking which scared her because of what it implied. Sir Issei, do it right now. The guard only did what Mahu asked, regretting having gone to receive them. When she did, an old, rusty chain came out of the cell, wrapping itself around his neck, bringing him to the bars, which alerted everyone, but a black hand came out of the darkness and landed on his head, scaring the guard. Guard, please, it wasn't my fault. They ordered me to do it, sir. Please have mercy, she said, crying as she felt him start to put force on her grip. The leaders were about to intervene until they began to see how the hand began to pull up the head of the guard who was crying, and from one moment to another the head was detached from her neck while she gave a heartbreaking scream that was heard throughout the prison, which made both the guards and the inmates get scared when they knew who it was. While the leaders were upset and the brothers and their partners were disgusted as if surprised by the scene. At that, the inmates began to shout, saying his title, Soulless. The leaders were about to silence them when laughter was heard from the cell, which made everyone feel fear. Issei, ha 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 ha, shut up. Those simple words left the place in silence. Sir Issei, show yourself now. There was no response. I told you to show yourself? Everything was silent. Damn trash, obey. The chain came out of the cell, wrapping itself around his neck, bringing him to the bars from which a hand came out and held his neck. Seeing this, everyone was about to attack until they saw how the hand showed that it was cutting the throat, which meant that it was about to penetrate the carotid artery of the neck if they even provoked it. From the darkness, the other hand appeared, indicating that they should remain silent, then hit again and Issei's mouth was seen. Issei, keep quiet, I'm not in the mood to listen to them. If they dare to even insult me or threaten me, I'll tear their throat out, with all understanding. Everyone looked at that seriously. Well, at least they know how to follow orders, stray dogs. Now tell me what they came for, and if they dare to even do something, I'll kill the one who understands. Azazel, you better let him go or you'll be executed. Think carefully about what you're going to do. Issei showed his eyes, which surprised everyone because of the blood color his pupil acquired, and his iris seemed surrounded by a ring of fire that saw his soul. Issei, and what do I care about that? I'm locked up here, so that would be like a reward right now. You're just giving me one more reason to rip his throat out with my hands, old crow. Ryu, stop right now, Issei, shut up, I warned you what I would do, he said, applying pressure, causing Search's throat to bleed more, which scared his sister. Rias, please Issei, stop. Issei, you better shut your mouth, hitch in heat, and don't say anything about how I respect her. You don't deserve anything from me. Now tell me the reason for your unpleasant visit or else leave now. Michael, we're here to find out if you have any idea what happened to the trihexa seal. A few days ago, it began releasing a strange energy from it, but it shows no signs of breaking or opening again. Issei, and you think I have something to do with that, right? Azazel, that's what we assume, you're the reason for that. Issei saw them and gave them a sinister smile which exalted them all. Issei, so you finally realized, idiots. He laughed sinisterly. That seal is attached to my soul, and thanks to my current condition it is slowly destabilizing. But what does that matter? If he manages to get out, it would mean nothing to me. Michael, impossible. The seal was placed by your brothers, not by you. You're lying so we can get you out. Issei, believe in your faith, you fool. I already told you what you wanted. Now get out of here before I kill you. He shot after Sir Issei, who was breathing heavily and cleaning his neck, being attended to by Gabriel and Asia. Now go, otherwise I'll finish what I was about to do. Ryu, damn, now you think we have to listen to you. You freed your only way out so you can't threaten us, now you'll pay for that outburst. Issei just smiled at everyone, which worried them but scared them. What he did next was that he took a piece of metal from Search's suit to his heart as he inserted it into it. Issei, ha ha ha, you pair of idiots, you only helped me since you arrived. Now you will know what true terror is. When I die, the seal will be modified to open a gap to the abyss of the world, ha ha ha. Michael, that's a myth. The abyss doesn't exist, Father told us. He doesn't believe it, it's just a fantasy of yours. Issei, it's true, he doesn't believe it, his brother did it, but what does it matter? His world will be consumed by his beasts, and they won't be able to do anything since I won't be here to help them. At that, the piece ends up sticking into him as he fell, but his body began to release its corrupted energy, beginning to get out of control. Azazel, damned bastard, let's all go before it explodes. Everyone left the place, remaining outside of Tartarus when they saw that the ground began to crack, swallowing the prison in a river of lava, while the screams of despair of the condemned and some guards could be heard. Sir Shay, that wretch prepared everything to free himself, now what will we do? Michael, we'll calmly find out the reason for the energy released from the seal. Azazel, I'm sure we're not leaders for nothing. Ryu, ha ha ha, this was his great plan to kill us, he just said nonsense, and the bastard blew himself up. At that point, everyone felt that the seal's energy began to get out of control, which scared them, just like the other mythological ones, going to the place of the seal and seeing how where it should have been there was a torn gap in its place. Red, what happened here? Ophis, because the seal was torn like that. Zeus, what is this dark energy coming out of there? Did the Trihexa gain even more power? At that, Gabriel shouts, calling everyone's attention. Gabriel, it can't be true, that place is the abyss, but Father told us it didn't exist. Michael, that's impossible, that means Issei was right. Asia, but he wouldn't be capable of endangering the world. Odin, shut up witch, I told you, he wasn't useless, he was very powerful when it came to ancient spells, you caused this by betraying him and now he's the only one who can close this gap that connects our world to the abyss. Tell us where he is right now so we can try to convince him to help us. Izari, he committed suicide while plunging the Tartars into destruction. He told us this would happen, but we thought he was just trying to scare us. Quetzalcoatl, it seems he committed suicide, you drove him to that, now there is nothing we can do to avoid this impending catastrophe. Ryu, and what does it matter what happened to them? I'm more than enough to save us from this, we don't need that scum for that. Odin, idiot, he is the only one who knows how to close this dimensional tear. Without him we can't do anything, we are lost. From the portal, a roar was heard that chilled everyone's blood. Odin, the creatures of the abyss are already approaching, as guardians prepare for battle, we will not let them invade us. Zeus, Spartans are ready to give their lives, we will not submit to these creatures. Spartans, Auch. They shouted, raising their spears to the sky. Quetzalcoatl, I will not allow them to destroy the world without a fight. The other factions followed suit, their armies ready to contain whatever emerged from the dimensional tear. Suddenly, everyone saw what was beginning to emerge, which frightened everyone with its power and appearance. Red, this will be the decisive battle for the survival of the world, he said before letting out a powerful roar calling all the dragons to help in the fight for their world. Meanwhile in the abyss we can see how a boy of no more than 7 years old with dark hair and red eyes with fiery irises had a small dark stone in his chest, but it shone until it mixed and fused with his heart. As he got up without noticing in a desert which was under a reddish sun, he began to inspect the place while thinking where he was. Issei, where am I, and why do I look younger if I remember taking my own life? He said looking at his hands and his body that was wrapped in an old and worn tunic. Well, I guess this is a new opportunity, so I'm not complaining, but where am I? He said looking at the vast desert, noticing some ancient ruins in the distance. I guess it's time to see where I am, he said going towards the ruins. Chapter 1. Issei was walking through the vast desert towards the ruins he saw when he woke up, but the journey was difficult for him due to his new infant body. Issei, ah damn, my body is not adapted to long walks yet. I have a long way to go before I can reach the ruins I saw. I need to rest a little. Further ahead he sees a couple of low hills where small cracks could be seen in the walls where he could rest a little from the red sun and the sand. Perfect, I can rest there. He immediately ran there to take shelter for a while. Using the lead, I noticed that there were indications that something had been in that area thanks to several bones and claw marks on the wall, so I quickly entered the hole when I heard a kind of growl coming from the top of the hill. Issei, damn, I didn't expect there to be creatures around here. I should have been more careful. I could have been attacked during my walk. I have to be more careful. With that, he begins to check the crack to make sure there was nothing else inside but him, not without first covering the entrance a little with stones so that nothing gets in. He looked around for a bit since it wasn't just a simple crack but rather a cave system, so he went deeper still to see if he could find something useful there, and thanks to the fact that there was a sort of white and yellow light illuminating the place he could walk without fear of tripping or something sneakily attacking him. When he had been inside for a while he noticed how further ahead there was a sort of corner that seemed to have been created in an unnatural way, so he went to see what it was. When he arrived he saw a sort of giant stone door with strange inscriptions. Then he noticed that there was an opening in a corner of that huge door, so without further ado he entered through there, ready to discover what was on the other side. When he entered he saw that it was a huge, dark room, so he couldn't notice anything other than the light that shone through the opening in the door, but in the middle of that darkness he noticed a small red flash, so without knowing why he started walking towards that place, ignoring the darkness of the place. Imagine that it is darker and that the walls and pillars are barely noticeable. When he was close enough to the light he could see a sword stuck in the ground that was rusty but emitted a red and yellow light. When he was about to touch it he noticed how the light began to show waves as if it was beating like his heart. With each beat of his the sword resonated with him, so without thinking he grabbed the hilt of the sword, which when touched released an incredible glow, while Issei seemed to be in a trance of that energy, so he fell to his knees still holding the sword in his hand. While above him appeared an energy mark that came from the particles that the sword began to release upon contact with him. Meanwhile, underworld current moments. We can see how where the gap in the abyss was, there were several bodies of soldiers from each mythology dead and destroyed throughout the area, while nearby we could see how the remaining surviving members of the supernatural were fighting against the last creature that had come out of there. Everyone was very hurt from having faced only 5 monsters that could come to this world, so this being the last everyone was facing them to finish them off before more came out, so in a combined attack of everyone they were able to eliminate it after a whole day of fighting. Being defeated, everyone shouted with happiness for that, but it did not last long since the gap began to release even more energy erratically, which indicated that more enemies were approaching, which scared everyone, and even more because an even louder roar was heard that froze their blood. Odin, damn, they keep coming every time we defeat them, and only 5 of them left us stunned. Zeus, we've already lost all our troops just to defeat those 5 creatures. If something else happens we won't be able to face them. We must do something to stop them until we can do something about the breach. Quetzalcoatl, we can combine our powers and create a barrier that will momentarily hold them back until we can discover a way to close the gap. Odin, that's a great idea. It will give us enough time to think about our strategies and future moves. Seraphil, that won't do. They'll just give us a few days until they can come again. Red, and maybe you have a better stupid idea. Ophis, if you don't have it, you better shut your mouth and start helping, or else I'll take care of you now. When everyone was ready, they combined their powers and created a barrier around the portal to prevent more creatures from entering this plane. Amaterasu, well, that will give us a few weeks of rest until they manage to cross it. We must think about what we can do before that happens. Ajuka, we must gather our forces and call an assembly with the other races to be able to face this situation. Our 8 races are too weakened right now to face the abyss. Our troops are completely decimated. Alright, then we should move now and set up an emergency meeting. We don't have much time. Abyss current moments. Issei was kneeling holding the sword, but he was completely unconscious, as if his mind was on another plane. But certainly it would be inside a place in his subconscious due to the energy of the sword. He had entered that place with no idea of how he got there until in that darkness he managed to visualize a kind of illuminated drop in which around it there were aces of light and particles. Without any idea of what was happening he approached that drop, but every time he got closer and closer he could notice as if his spirit was getting stronger with each step he took. When he was in front of that drop he instinctively touched it with his hands, which upon making contact with the drop it disintegrated into particles that surrounded him and got inside him, which impacted Issei until he could hear a voice that began to speak. Death is not the end, lost soul, but the beginning of a new adventure. If you see that in the darkness you feel that you are lost, remember that it is not an enemy but a tool to achieve your goal. The souls of the brave never die, but become legends for all eternity. And remember that our past will always haunt us, but only the present has the power to change our future. So find your place in the world, wandering soul. When the voice finished speaking, Issei woke up abruptly, seeing that he was still in that pose where he was, but this time the sword was off the floor in front of his eyes as he held it, and more than that, it was no longer rusted or broken, but now it was completely restored as if it had never been in such conditions. Issei, okay, that was curious, but now at least I have something to defend myself with in case something tries to devour me. At that he notices a slight itch in his right hand, so he focuses his sight on it, noticing that he had a symbol on it, as if it were carved into his skin. And when did this appear? Perhaps what happened in that dream has something to do with it, since it is the same symbol, but that voice sounded as if it wanted to give me some answer to my situation. When he finished resting while admiring his new weapon, he decided to continue his journey to those ruins he saw, so he started his walk again. But when he left the crack he heard something moving among some rubble that was there, so without further ado he began to look for it out of curiosity. When he found it he was surprised to see that it was a kind of black snake that looked like it had been born a few weeks ago, but had a wound on its side as if something had attacked it. Without further ado, he approached her and put her inside his bag so she could rest while he put some dead lizards he found in the rubble for her to eat and recover. Issei, well, little one, now it will be just the two of us, so you will be my partner while we are together, and I hope that when you grow up you will be big and strong so that no one dares to bother us, ha ha ha. He laughed as if he were 7 years old. Apparently his soul was adapting to the age of his new body every time he got more used to it. A few hours had passed since he found his new companion, so now he was at the entrance of the ruins, which looked like some kind of ancient tomb. But he didn't give it any importance, so he entered through the door to see what was inside. Everything was in ruins. He spent a while wandering around trying to find out where he was until he found a large door that was half open, which he entered and saw a long tunnel that he followed without further ado. Issei, I feel a breeze further ahead, so this is the way back. Posh guys going faster to see the light back. Suddenly he came to a kind of room before seeing the exit, which surprised him because of its condition, unlike the rest of the ruin. But then he saw the exit and heard a river running, so being thirsty, he went there to get a drink, as he hadn't hydrated in a long time. When he got out, he saw a scene that surprised him. And who doesn't? It's not every day you can see a meadow under a mountain and a tree of light. The whole place seemed incredible to him. In fact, he would even say that this seemed more incredible than the supernatural world he was used to seeing. Issei, well, this is surprising. We went from an arid desert to a beautiful wooded meadow. Then he saw a stream that was between some trees, so without further ado he went towards it to drink some. Okay, I'm well hydrated now, it's your turn, little one, he said as he brought his hands full of water to his little friend, who took it desperately. I should give you a name. How are you, Bash? The snake saw him and drank water again. Then that will be your name, Bash. At that moment they hear something approaching them, so they look behind him and see that many undead soldiers surrounded him. At that they pounced on him, pointing their swords. So Issei hides Bash and takes out the sword from before and deflects an attack that was going to his neck, which makes him fall on his back, seeing how the others were about to kill him, but out of nowhere a lion's roar was heard where the undead escaped, leaving Issei, who looked where that roar was. Seeing a great lord with great muscles, a braided beard with Viking clothes and carrying a broken axe. What is a little boy doing around here, where death lurks around every corner? Issei, I don't know, sir. I recently woke up in a red desert, and by fate I found this green place where I am now. That's strange. I don't remember there being a desert like that around here, but it doesn't matter. Issei, yes there is, if you follow that door it will take you through some ruins that will lead you to that desert. He pointed to where the door was, but saw that it was no longer there, but now there was an immense abyss in its place. But I saw it. You must be very tired now, kid. Surely the tiredness has affected you. For now, come, I'll take you to a safe place until I know where you come from. Do you know your name, perhaps? Issei, yes, my name is Issei, that's all I have, I don't have a last name. Godfrey, well Issei, I am known as Godfrey the Lord of Elden, and now climb onto my shoulders, we will go to where my companions are. With that, Issei decided to follow him since he was the only person who didn't want to kill him or anything, but he didn't think he was a bad person, so he didn't hesitate to accompany him to his destination, since he didn't know what to do anyway. Chapter 2. A few hours had passed since Issei and Godfrey had met and started their journey. During that time they both got to know each other. Godfrey, well kid, can you remember how you were in that place or where you came from? Issei, the truth is I can only tell you what I told you before since I don't remember the rest. But why were you surprised when you saw me? Is it strange that children like me are away from their homes? Godfrey, that's partly it, but what surprised me was actually seeing you. Issei, how do you see me? Godfrey, listen, child, these desolate lands have a curse, no one can die completely even if they try, you always return to where you died, being reborn as if you were in an eternal loop, although there are exceptions if you are some kind of divine or evil being, but because of this people became aggressive. Although some managed to maintain their sanity. Issei, so most of the things that were there, even if I had killed them, would come back to life over time. Godfrey, exactly, kid, but that curse also has a second function, and that's where you come in. Issei, me? Why? Godfrey, since that curse was imposed, no child has been born, so you are the first in centuries, that's what surprised me when I saw you. Issei, but how is that even possible? Godfrey, we don't know, child, an ancient ancestral being was the one who cursed these lands and their inhabitants a long time ago. Issei, wait, if what you're saying is true, that means you've been alive for centuries. Godfrey, exactly, but the difference is that I can die, permanently due to a certain being just like other lords or beings. Issei, wow, that is surprising and terrifying. Godfrey, that would be the description of this situation. Well, leaving that aside, do you remember anything about your family or the place where you lived? Issei, yes, I remember them, although I don't have very good memories of them or the other people from that place. He said, annoyed by everything he suffered. Godfrey, why do you say that, little one? Did something happen to your parents or the other villagers? Issei, the truth is that many things happened that I don't want to remember. He said sadly because of what the people he considered family did to him. Godfrey, can you tell me what happened, so you might feel better about letting it all out? He said as he continued walking with Issei on his back. Issei, I think you're right. Well, let's say that at first I had a very good life. I even had several people whom I considered my family apart from my parents and siblings. Everything was going well until they all started to become distant because my brothers had powerful objects, so they started to praise them for it. But that only left a gap between them and me, so they began to consider me a hindrance, which led them to start mistreating me for it. Without him realizing it, he began to shed tears, as his conscience adapted to the age of his new body. Many times I did things that would be beyond my capabilities, and I even went so far as to put myself in the middle of everyone to protect them. But they always thought that my brothers were the ones defending them from enemies, while I stood there watching them take all the attention of others and my parents. That's why I decided to become better, so that they would at least give me a little affection. He said, crying while clenching his fists. But it was always my brothers who received everything, even if they weren't the ones doing things. They always said that I just wanted to overshadow them because I was jealous, so no one believed that I was the one doing things. Until they all decided to lock me up in a dark place where they spent their time torturing me without caring about my pleas. So I decided that if they didn't want my presence there, then I had no reason to be, so I freed myself from everything. But then I woke up in that red desert, arriving when you saw me surrounded by those things that wanted to kill me. Throughout the story, Godfrey maintained his pace, while having his usual stoic face. But if you looked at his hands, both were closed, highlighting the rage he felt, although he did not show it. Godfrey, kid, he tried to say, but he stopped when Issei said something that left him very surprised. Issei, I just want a family that loves me no matter what. Is that too much to ask? Was I just born to suffer so as not to be loved or wanted by anyone? She said, bursting into tears euphorically over the man who stopped with a serious look on his face. Godfrey just raised his hands and gently grabbed Issei and lowered him in front of him as he knelt down to face him. Godfrey, listen to me, kid. You may be very dejected right now about what they did to you, but remember, a great warrior always rises up in the face of any adversity that comes his way, he said while pointing his finger at his chest. Don't let that bring you down. Always seek your happiness even if people deny it to you. You must be strong to be able to obtain it. So tell me something, kid. Would you like to be my adopted son? Issei was momentarily surprised by the proposal, but due to how mentally unstable he was from what he suffered and due to the state of his new body, so he happily went to him and hugged him while continuing to cry. Issei, of course, sir, he wants you to be my father, he said, crying with happiness, which touched Godfrey to a certain extent since he could never have a son to raise due to certain things. Godfrey, calm down, kid. I'm here and we'll both be the family we needed, he said, hugging Issei. Okay, kid, listen to me. This place, like I said, is quite dangerous, so now it would be best to head to a safe place for you, where there are some acquaintances of mine. We'll go so you can train to become strong and know how to protect yourself if necessary. Do you understand? Issei, I understand, father, but where is that place? Godfrey, ha ha ha, I see you've already started to see me as your new father figure. Well, it's just a few days away, so we should leave as soon as possible if we want to arrive before the solstice begins this month. Issei, and what happens on this solstice? Godfrey, during the week of the solstice the beasts and creatures become stronger and more dangerous. So we must leave before it happens, because if I were alone I could easily get through it, but now I have a valuable cargo, which is my son, he said, caressing her hair. With that, they both began their journey to the place Godfrey mentioned. As they walked, they encountered many things, from creatures to treasures. They even took advantage of the time to get to know each other better, so it took them a total of 15 days to reach their destination. Raya Lucaria Academy, Lierna region. Godfrey and Issei were in front of the imposing academy that was on a cliff. When several magicians from the place entered, they saw it, and were about to attack them, which alerted both of them, but when they saw Issei they all stopped instantly because there was a child with him, so they quickly moved aside, giving them way to the academy. Issei, why did they stop when they were about to attack us? Godfrey, it's for you, Issei. But don't worry, if they were going to attack someone it would be me only, since I have a certain past conflict with the current regent of this place. Issei, what happened between you and him? Godfrey, Issei, she's a woman, and let's just say something happened between us that she resents me for. Both entered the academy, where they headed to the main library to meet with the woman who ran the place. When they were in front of the immense doors of the library, Godfrey put Issei behind him and prepared to open both doors. When he did, he received a large-scale attack from the front, so he put both hands crossed to receive it, which surprised Issei due to the power of both, but it did not stop there. Several smaller-scale attacks were launched constantly after that powerful one. How dare you step into this place after what you did to me, Godfrey? Was it not enough for you to hurt me for so long, and you come to my territory as if nothing happened? Godfrey, listen to me, Renala. I know there are many bad things between us, and I know I hurt you a long time ago, but I have an important matter to discuss with you, so please listen to me. It's very important. Renala, do you think I care what you have to tell me? You have nothing that I care about, so get ready, my servants. Attack with all of your strength, she said as several women dressed in robes appeared on the ground and began to prepare magical attacks aiming at Godfrey, waiting for their lady's order. When they were about to attack, Godfrey prepared to defend himself and counterattack the attacks. But before that could happen, Issei came out from behind him and stood in the middle, surprising Renala by seeing him, as well as the women who were there. Issei, enough please, miss. We are not here to look for problems, we just want to talk, please, he said while extending his arms in front of Godfrey and her. Godfrey, Issei, stand behind me now. Issei, no, I won't let them continue hurting the only person who has shown me affection so far after what I've been through. Everything was silent, but then Renala spoke. Renala, everyone stop, let them talk. Godfrey, just this once I will let you talk to me, but what are you doing with this little one, and how is he here if that should be impossible because of the curse? Godfrey, thank you Renala for allowing me to speak after all. He is Issei and I found him in the eastern areas of Necrolimbo and I took him as my adoptive son after having rescued him from a group of necrotic marauders. The rest he will tell you since I want one more person to be here if you allow me. Renala, okay, go find him, he is in the gardens right now, tell him that I sent for you, she said, speaking to one of her deer that saw Issei. Go with him so he knows that I called him. The deer only nodded as she accompanied Godfrey to the outside gardens of the place. Okay little one, I am Renala, the governor of these territories, and you, she said as she went to Issei and crouched down to his height to talk to him, although she felt some fear of him on her part, so in an attempt to calm him down she brought her hand to his cheek while she caressed him. Issei was quite nervous about being alone with the immense woman, but when he felt her caress him he calmed down and spoke. Issei, well Miss Renala, I'm Issei and due to certain problems I don't have any last name. Renala, calm down, little one, tell me how you were in the eastern areas of Necrolimbo and where your parents or relatives were. Issei, in fact, I don't know why I was there. I only know that I woke up in a red desert and after walking among some ruins I found this place. That surprised Renala since she didn't know any place in the Middle Lands that was like that. And the reason I was there is because those I considered my family considered me trash, a hindrance to them, so they wanted to get rid of me, she said sobbing. Renala, seeing him like that, approached him and hugged him affectionately to calm him down. She understood this very well and felt a lot of pain seeing a child in that state, so she tried to calm him down. Renala, calm down my little one, everything will be okay, she said in a warm and loving way as a mother should do in this situation. Meanwhile in the academy garden, we could see how Godfrey was walking back with another person at his side. Although if we looked closely at them we could see that both had several wounds, implying that there had been a confrontation between them when they saw each other. When they were both at the door of the library, they proceeded to enter, seeing Issei and Renala's situation, so they saw how she was comforting him. When Issei and Renala noticed their presence, they both dropped what they were doing and went over to them. Godfrey, I see you've already heard what my little Renala went through. Renala, yes, I saw that he suffered a lot until you saved him and gave him a place to live. Sorry, why did you call me, although from what Godfrey told me, it's about this little miracle of the world that's at our feet. Godfrey, well, as I told you, he is the little one I saved and took as my own Morgott. Morgott, and what is your name? Issei, my name is Issei, sir, just Issei. Morgott, so Issei, I see. Godfrey, Issei, can you give us some privacy to discuss certain matters amongst ourselves? Issei, it's okay, cool. Renala, wait, let one of my servants accompany you so you don't get lost. At that, one of the magicians approached and grabbed Issei's hand to accompany him outside while the third king saw that. When she left the library the three began their talk. Godfrey, well, as you can see, Issei is an exceptional case. He is the first child from the Middle Earth in centuries, so we could say that many people will be very interested and willing to possess him for whatever it may be. Morgott, his mere presence would shake this kingdom. A child who has no ties to the ancient curse is simply something everyone wanted. Renala, we must take care of him. Not only for that reason I saw that his life was pure tragedy and pain for him. His look said it when he told me about his life. Godfrey, yes, let's say that the things he experienced being a miracle of life are quite unpleasant, but now I decided to take him under my wing as my adopted son, which he accepted, and I thought I would train him so that one day he would take my place in the world. Morgott, it's surprising that you put aside your pride and do that. Godfrey, before you would have just welcomed the boy as another warrior under your hand. Godfrey, yes, it's true, but something about him attracted me to that decision. He was willing to face the necrotics. When I found him, even though he was afraid, I saw his determination not to go down without a fight. Morgott, then under your tutelage he will become an extraordinary warrior. Renala, you two stop, Don't we see that he's just a child? He's the first in a long time and you want him to become a soldier. Don't you have the slightest capacity to think about him before making that decision? Morgott, Renala remembers what these lands are like. He wouldn't survive if he didn't know how to defend himself. He just needs this so he can get ahead in the future. Renala, but he's just a child. How can they make him train knowing what he suffered? How his supposed parents who were supposed to watch over his safety were the ones who hurt him the most? Godfrey, I understand you when he told me I felt so angry about it. Our situation makes each new life very valuable more after that curse. But you know that he must prepare for whatever comes his way. He sees me as his family now, that's why I won't let him be alone, and if that were to happen I want to make sure that he can move forward alone. He needs a family and I plan to give it to him, but I can't do it alone. I can fill the role of a father for him but not for others. Morgott, I understand your point, and you called us to help you with the truth. Godfrey, yes Morgott, I need your help because I don't know how to take care of him alone. Renala, Godfrey, I understand what you're asking of me. You know very well that I'm only allowing you to speak to me for the little one, but I still haven't forgotten what you did to me a long time ago. Godfrey, Renala, I know I hurt you a lot, but I need you to help me with him. I need you to cover the part that a mother should have in her life. Renala, I will Godfrey, but only because little Issei needs me by his side as his mother figure. She said a little convinced but felt the need to help him for Issei. Godfrey, thank you Renala, really thank you. Morgott, now what do we do? Godfrey, what we'll do is prepare Issei for the future. We'll train him so that one day he'll take the throne of the Elden Ring. Those words surprised both of them, but they accepted that this was their goal, to raise the one who would take the throne. Renala, we will make sure that he finds in this inhospitable place what he so longed for, a home and a family to support him. Morgott, I never imagined being an uncle in this place, but it's okay, I'll help you raise him. Godfrey, well then, let's talk to him and tell him what the three of us agreed upon. They went to look for Issei to talk to him about what they decided, while Issei was walking hand in hand with the magician looking at the place in detail. Until suddenly he felt that he was a little sleepy, which was noticed by the magician, who took him to a kind of room where she laid him down on a bed and covered him up, letting him rest while she went to look for her lady to see him. Minutes later the three gentlemen went to see Issei, who was sleeping comfortably like an angel. The three of them stayed watching him for a few moments while Renala stood to one side while stroking Issei's hair. Renala, come on, he's just a child who suffered a lot. I feel sorry for him every time I see him, but he always keeps that calm face. Despite that, he has a strong heart so he doesn't fall for it. Godfrey, that's why I want to prepare him for what Renala might have to go through in the future, and only the three of us can prepare him for that. Morgott, then we must tell him before anything else happens. Renala reluctantly lifted Issei up, who began to rub his eyelids and saw the three gentlemen in front of him looking at him. Issei, what's going on? Are you done talking? Godfrey, Issei, listen to me. I know we just met recently, but I need to tell you something about your stay with us. The three of us decided to train you so that in the future you can be well prepared to overcome whatever happens. Issei, I understand, and what will I do as training? Morgott, I'm impressed, kid. You showed no fear in the fact that you have to train. Issei, well, I know I'm very weak and fragile and that I need to become stronger if I want to have a quiet life without fear of dying, so that must be why I think it's okay to be trained. Renala, but even so, we will start gently until your body is a little more mature so as not to cause you any problems in the future. That is why we decided that each of us will train you in a specific area according to your age. I will have you under my wing first to teach you how to handle magic both physically and mentally, so when we finish, you will be old enough for your next lesson. Morgott, and that's where I come in as your second teacher. I'll have you train in the area of skill and agility, as well as the handling of weapons and their attack styles, so that when we finish, you'll have knowledge of the arts of the sword and other weapons. And when you're done, you'll have to deal with the hardest part. Godfrey, you'll train with me at the end, kid. I'll be in charge of improving your strength and endurance so that you're strong enough so that almost nothing can harm you. That's why I'm last, since right now your body won't be able to handle much effort, and we don't want to overexert it. Issei, I understand, but while I'm with Miss Renala, where will you be? Godfrey, don't worry, we'll continue your training with her and see how you do. We'll prepare to teach you, but remember, it won't be easy, because the hard part is that you get better. Issei, okay, I will do my best to not disappoint you. I swear, Father, I will not let adversity beat me. Passage of time. As the three lords had said, each one divided the work of teaching Issei their assigned areas. First it was Renala who prepared him for the use of magic and everything that entails its use. It took 3 years for him to be fully ready in that area, where he demonstrated a natural handling of magic which surprised Renala, since he had very good control of it, which was answered by Issei telling her that he had some experience before they met. During this time Issei and Renala were forming a relationship, being that they seemed like mother and son according to them, which showed both that even being of different blood, a mother would be one who cares and not one who engenders, while a son would be one who shows that motherly love to the one who raised him. Issei could see in her what he desired so much during these 3 years, which led him to become fond of her, beginning to feel that affection that he needed before. He even came to find out that she had 3 children who were scattered around this world. After those 3 years it was time to train agility and skill with Morgott, who saw him as a serious guy for how he behaved, both trained their reaction and movement capabilities, and then began with the classes of weapon handling and their styles, which took him the same as with magic 3 years and 2 more to perfect the styles learned. Both, despite not talking much, felt very happy between them. Issei saw in Morgott a teacher and mentor, while he saw him as a disciple and student. When he finished with Morgott, he played the last lesson that would be taught by his father figure Godfrey. As said before, it was the most difficult, since at this time Issei was 15, and according to his adoptive father they would train in his strength and endurance. It should be said that at first it was a little difficult for him to keep up with Godfrey, but as time passed he managed to adapt his body to be able to follow them to the letter. Godfrey, seeing that Issei did not give up, felt very proud of him, while Issei felt a lot of respect for his father. Their relationship was what he so desired. Both being very close during their training fights, there was even a time where they both went on trips to areas where there were many creatures, where Issei faced them to gain experience from the fights and form his warrior attitude. It took him more than 5 years to finish his training with his father, but instead of feeling happy about it, he felt like he was leaving one of the things that united them as a family. But the 3 gentlemen, when they finished, met with him to congratulate him for having finished his training. That day the 4 of them celebrated as a family, which made Issei happy, who showed it by shedding tears of happiness during the celebration, which surprised the 3 gentlemen, being Renala, who approached him and sheltered him as if he were still that little defenseless child who had been placed in her life, being followed by the other 2 who hugged each other, while Issei thanked them for being his family. Issei, thank you for taking me in when I was just a child. Thank you for being the family I always wanted and for giving me the opportunity to be someone else, he said, smiling at them in a way that was always but true. Godfrey, I'm glad I took you in my arms, my son. Renala, oh my boy, you were always such a crybaby. The day you appeared in my life you gave me back that feeling of love that I felt when I became a mother for the first time. You cheered my aching heart with your presence, my sweet baby. Morgott, you were the best student I ever had, nephew. Don't forget it. Always give your best above all else. Remember, you are the child raised by the 3 warlords, so hold your head high and show everyone who you are. Issei, thank you for everything, you will always be my family. That day was one of the happiest that could have happened in the Middle Lands for a long time, but outside the academy 2 people were approaching each other, one a man and the other a woman, due to their figures. My lady, we finally arrived after so long. I see it, I'm glad to have returned home after so long, he said, smiling at seeing the academy where he grew up again. Chapter 3. Godfrey, Issei, now that you've finally finished your training, we decided to celebrate. Issei, they seriously threw me a party. Renala, hey Issei, did you think we wouldn't celebrate that you finished your training? Issei, well, the truth is, having been training with you all these years, I thought you never celebrated anything, to be honest. Morgott, and you guess right, apprentice. We originally planned to fight you again so you could gain experience from the 2 war kings, but your mother forbade us from doing so, saying you deserved a party for your achievements. But before he could continue, Renala hit him on the head with a stick, smashing him to the ground in front of everyone present. Renala, and I thought I told you not to say that to Issei. You know very well that he doesn't want us to do things in a forced way, Morgott, she said above him in a terrifying way. Issei, now I understand why they said to never contradict or disobey her. Godfrey, see, I told you, when she decides something, she goes crazy trying to get it done, because you think I was afraid of seeing her when I introduced her to you. Issei, I never thought I'd see you so afraid of someone, ha ha ha. The great king of Elden is afraid of his former wife, he said mockingly to his adoptive father. Godfrey, listen to me, brat. I'm not afraid of anyone. I'm the strongest here, and she won't be able to do anything to make me throw that party. I'll just be in a corner drinking my drink while you guys have fun. Renala, oh really, Godfrey, I thought I made it clear to you that we would all celebrate with Issei without fail. But as always your promises are false. I think I should teach you to keep them one way or another, she said behind him while floating in a purple aura surrounded her while she had a big smile and looked with her eyes half open. Godfrey, and as I said, I'm not afraid of anything, and if you allow me, son, I must go resolve some matters on my throne. See you and enjoy your rest, he said, trying to flee from there quickly, only to be held by the feet by Renala's magic, who looked at him with a face that didn't offer anything good. Damn. Issei was frozen when he saw the massacre his adoptive mother committed against his adoptive father, and that's when he knew it. Issei, then she always hid her true strength from me, because I'm glad I didn't see the truth, He laughed nervously when he saw her holding a long staff over her father's head. Everything would have continued if it weren't for the fact that some guests entered the room, attracting the attention of the four. I think we interrupted something important, miss, he said, seeing the state of the two great kings of these lands under the feet of his lady's mother. We should come back later, I think, he said, swallowing hard. Mother, what's going on? Why do you have King Godfrey at your feet and Morgott unconscious, and who is that young man? Renala, my daughter, it's been a long time, she said, releasing Godfrey, who was grateful that her daughter appeared. Come and hug me, my dear. Renala's supposed daughter went and hugged her under the gaze of everyone, including a confused Issei. Renala, I'm glad to see you, my daughter, but tell me why you didn't visit me before, he said, looking at her out of the corner of his eye while releasing the aura from before again. Godfrey, Issei, he said, whispering to his son. Get me out of here quickly, this is going to get ugly. Issei, why? Who is that girl? I want to see if she is Renala's daughter, he asked, confused. But before Godfrey could answer, they heard Renala speak again. Renala, Rennie, tell me why the hell you didn't come to visit me all those years and now you do it, you cheeky young woman. Rennie, excuse me, mother, but you know very well the reason for that. The moon needed me to be taking care of it all this time, but now it gave me a break from my work so I could visit you at my request. Renala, well, let's leave that aside. Come, my girl, I want you to meet a little person, she said, taking her towards Issei and Godfrey. Meanwhile, Supernatural World DxD. Things were going from bad to worse. His troops could barely maintain the closing spell that prevented those creatures from invading them. They would not resist much longer. They only had days left until the spell collapsed and gave way to them. Now each leader of the mythologies were sitting trying to find a solution to this problem. Alright, damn it, we won't last long if we don't find a solution to our situation. Zeus, calm down, Alright, if we act like this we won't get anywhere good. Quetzalcoatl, things are getting from bad to worse. Zeus, we need to solve this now or life on the planet will come to an end. Zeus, I know, but if we just shout, we won't achieve anything. Ryu, come on, old man, you don't need to be like that with me, things will be easier. Zeus, shut up, you damn boy, if it wasn't for your stupid idea of going to bother the only person who could help us right now we would be calm. Izari, Zeus, calm down, it wasn't our fault that idiot committed suicide like that. Odin, you better shut up, girl. We're having a very serious conversation to be listening to this. Zeus, don't pay attention to them. Circe, Lord Odin, don't you think you've gone a little too far with her? We're all in this together, and fighting won't help at all. Quetzalcoatl, shut your mouth, stupid demon, all this happened because you went to bother the only person who could save us now. Rias, hey, have more respect for my brother. Quetzalcoatl, already irritated, gave her a death glare as she released her power, causing Rias to sit on her chair. Quetzalcoatl, this was their fault, so don't come telling me to respect them, you spoiled brat. Remember that I am a goddess, and you are just a high-ranking demon. Know your place, you understand. Michael, I think the atmosphere is a little heavy, but it's best if we calm down and discuss how we can resolve this mess. Odin, you and your people are also to blame, Angel, so do not try to appease our anger. Azazel, come on Odin, come on, I'll invite you to see some pretty young girls so you can calm down. Odin, shut up, this is not the time to be stupid, Azazel. Our people are dying trying to prevent those abominations from invading us, and all you're thinking about is that. Athena, hey Mr. Odin, I remember you said when this happened that Issei was good at ancient magic. How did you know that? Odin, the boy always asked for my help when he wanted to discover some finding or spell he read, so in my territory I gave him one of my workshops to test and study in exchange for being the first to see them and be able to use them. Sikvera inventions? What kind of inventions did you make, if I may ask, Lord Odin? Odin, nothing that interests the people who locked him up like he was the worst scum in the world. Seraphil, but perhaps with those inventions and knowledge we can close the gap. That's why we need you to show us. Odin, don't even think about it, you damn scum. I won't let you touch all the progress Issei made after what they did to him, and besides, there was nothing about the breach. He probably had it stored somewhere else until he was sure of the information he had. Circe, but with that you could save us. If you don't want to give us those documents, we will go look for them then. Odin, dare you damn scum to step on my domains and I will not hesitate to declare war on you. Understood, no one can step on my territory without my permission. Ryu, seriously old man, do you think you'll fight against us? We're more than you, and you can count on me and my sister. Zeus, I wouldn't be sure, he has my help in that case, you were the ones who started all this because of your stupid pride. Quetzalcoatl, I felt a lot of affection for Issei, so they can count on my help too. If the three biblical factions want to start a war in this situation, then we Aztecs will be forced to destroy them for the safety of the world. Great network, enough. This is not the time to be fighting amongst each other, the fate of our world is at stake. After we manage to end this problem you can kill each other, but now we must work together, you listened. It doesn't matter who is to blame for this or not. Odin, do you have any information that could be useful to us in this case, or any indication as to whether Issei had already predicted that this would happen? Odin, I actually have some things that mention this from his files. He said that the abyss is the bridge between two-dimensional planes, a way to simplify it. Red, but since I don't know anything about that, I'm the guardian of the dimensions. Odin, that's what I'm getting at. It seems to be a parallel world to ours, like an older version but not identical to ours. It may have one or another similarity, but both are different worlds. Issei, upon discovering this, decided to investigate this theory further, but before he could come up with anything, these idiots here locked him up. Ryu, he deserved it. He was just an idiot who couldn't do anything but read books and experiment. But before anyone could silence him, Ryu flew over the wall of the place, surprising everyone when they saw who it was. Valerie, shut up you damn scum. Issei was much more valuable than you. If it weren't for him right now I would be dead or worse. I won't let you continue insulting him in my presence. You heard, either you nor anyone else do it again in my presence. Leify, Valerie, calm down please, we are in a meeting to look for problems. Even Great Red had said not to fight here. Valerie, I can't tolerate it. I can't let them keep saying those things for the person I love. I can't, Leify. It hurts me to hear that. And also, I won't be able to see him again. And all because of these stupid women who locked him up with the support of these scoundrels. Red, Valerie, I know you feel hurt now, but this isn't the time to be fighting. I'll let it go because he made that comment, but it's your last chance. Do you understand? When they calmed down, Leify took her friend to a corner to talk about what she said. Leify, Valerie, what you said about Issei back there is true. Valerie, yes Leify, I love him more than anything in the world. It hurts me that he is no longer here with us, with me. She said, crying on his shoulder. Leify, okay, my friend, you're not the only one who misses him. He was someone unique in our lives, but we must move forward for him. Remember what he told us, no one decides for you. You alone can chart your own path in life. We must move forward in his honor. Valerie could only cry like Leafy when remembering the moments they lived with the chestnut, but inside Valerie the White Emperor was just like them, since in what she saw she knew that the chestnut was a noble and virtuous person, which for a dragon was highly valued, and more so for the dragonesses who could fall in love with those traits regardless of the race that was their interest. A little apart we see Odin meditating on whether he should show something that Issei left him in case something happened to him. Odin, kid, you are someone very annoying. Look at you leaving that to me to give to them in case something happened to you. You couldn't give it to them when you were here by yourself, that now you turn to this old pervert, he said, looking at the sky while remembering the envelopes that the brown-haired man asked him to keep until he decided that it was time to give them to their recipients. Zeus, I see that Issei foresaw his fate before it happened, no? Odin, god of Olympus, doesn't he know that eavesdropping can be considered something that makes us enemies? Zeus, calm down, Odin, you're not the only one. Issei left something for someone else. Odin, what did he give you perhaps? Zeus, as you suppose, it's the same as what you have, but for certain goddesses that I know, he left me his cards of confection so that I could give them to him when the time is right, 3 to be precise. Odin, ha ha ha, that guy really had a lot of balls to give us that mission. But I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one he trusted to show himself as he truly is. Zeus, he was curious, he never let insults or contempt bring him down, he always stood up to everything and fought. When he was in my domain he always asked me for help to learn how to fight. Ha ha ha, it was fun to see him trying to keep up with the Spartans in their training. Odin, so that's where he was when he disappeared those hours a day. Hey, he was definitely amazing, he never stopped learning when he could. But now we can't see him again, and all because of those self-centered idiots. Zeus, calm down, Odin, sooner or later they will pay for it, don't doubt it, but now we must go back, we have to find a way to seal that rift for the fate of our people. Odin, everything would have been easier if he were with us. Both gods proceeded to return to the meeting room without noticing that someone was in the shadows watching them as they spoke. So those two trusted Issei. But I won't let their memories be outraged by the factions. I won't let them destroy the only thing that the man who gave me a new chance to live did with so much care. She said, leaving while the sunlight of the underworld made her brown skin noticeable with an hourglass figure that would leave any man who saw her foolish if she wasn't considered one of the most dangerous women. Intermediate lands. After Renala calmed down and introduced Issei to her daughter Rennie, they continued with the celebration party. Although Renala ended up being happy to see that Issei and her daughter got along well when they met, although she was surprised to learn that Issei was the first child to be born in the intermediate world. Hours later we could see Issei dressed in his usual way, which showed how a hooded cloak, his clothes could be passed off as if they were those of a warrior of the lands, which would be advantageous for what he was about to do. Godfrey, hey son, weren't you going to say goodbye to us before going on your adventure? Morgot, ha ha ha, I see I need more time with my student to show him what to do. Renala, hey Issei, were you about to leave without saying goodbye to us after all? Didn't I teach you to never abandon a woman like a certain vermin? She said, looking at her stepson and Godfrey. Issei, I still need training to be able to dodge them. Godfrey, that's easily solved, but what do you want to do now, Issei, and why didn't you tell us before? Issei, sorry, I thought Renala would stop me from leaving if I told you guys. Renala, and you didn't fail, because you want to leave us after everything we went through together. Issei, I need to become strong and gain experience, mother, and if I'm always with you that won't happen. I want to become a renowned person like you. I want to show that I am that child who was trained by the 3 greatest people of these lands, but I won't be able to do it if I remain under their wings. That's why I decided to take a trip and fully train myself for the fights I will have in the future. Morgot, we taught you well, brat. That's the spirit of a warrior. From my part you have my approval to go in search of adventures. Renala, but Morgot, how can you say that? He's still very young. Godfrey, no Renala, he's right. We knew this day would come if we trained him. It was only logical that he would seek this kind of excitement. Renala, but... Issei, calm down, mother. he said, holding her hands. I swear I'll be fine, and I'll always keep you informed through the magic cards from time to time so you'll always know how I am and where in case something happens. Renala, okay, fine, but promise that you'll always be in touch or I'll personally beat you up like I did to those two idiots at my sides. Both, Hey. Issei, calm down, I promise, mother. Remember that I will always be with you since for me you were my mother when the one who should have been only decided on me. That is why I swear before you, mother, that no matter what happens I will always return to your side. He said, making a spell fall between his hands, tying his with his mother Renala's under the surprised gaze of everyone, and even a Renala who was watching everything from the inside with her magic. Renala, Issei, what kind of magic is that? I've never seen it. Issei, she is one who believes, mother, this will bind us in a promise. As I said, this promise to return safely is tied to an oath that is unbreakable, so no matter what happens it will always be fulfilled. Renala, it's incredible. I never thought that a kind of magic like this could be created, but that has no consequences. Issei, no, mother, this will ensure that I will always come back to your side no matter where I am. Morgott, you surprise me, boy. Issei, thank you, master. I was able to do this thanks to the fact that you searched for a magic that would allow me to tame the creatures I faced, and also because you helped me tame Bash when he grew up, Godfrey, I still say you should have killed him. Issei, he was the first friend I had in these lands, that's why I decided to make him my travel companion. Renala, it's okay, Issei, I understand, but remember that you will always have a place here waiting for you when you return. Issei, okay, mother, I know very well, he said, hugging her while she cried for her son. Issei, I think it's time for me to go. See you and thanks for everything, my family, he said, starting to walk away while the big three said goodbye to them from the entrance of the academy. When Issei was further away, he summoned Bash on his shoulder, which hissed. Issei, I know, Bash, I also wanted to stay with them longer, but remember that we must become strong on our own. And your hunger is increasing, so we need even bigger prey to feed you. Both proceeded to begin their journey through the dangerous paths of the Middle Lands. What will our protagonist have in store for him on his journey, what allies he will find on it, and how many enemies he will face, and also that in the future he will take his destined place on the throne of the Elden Ring as its new monarch and sovereign. Chapter 4. For 5 years Issei was traveling through the Middle Lands in search of battle experience. During this journey he had moments where he almost died, or where he was completely wounded, but all this served to forge his warrior's temper. His body improved as he fought. His scars not only adorned his toned body but were clear evidence of the effort, sweat and pain he had to go through to be where he is today, the place where he would culminate his long and tortuous journey in these dead lands, the Elden Tree, that place where the only creature that his father Godfrey could never face resided, the one who dictated the laws in this world. But he was still missing something to be able to go through the door where he was at this moment. He needed the key that the lunar divinity possessed. So determined to finish his objective, he left for the tower where the guardian of the lunar divinity was so that she could tell him how to find her. Issei, well, I'm finally close to being able to finish my long journey. I just need one last trip to reach my final destination and finally be able to return to my parents. Issei headed towards the lunar towers where the guardian of the moon resided. At first he had to face many monsters including crystal dragons to get to where the largest tower of the three was. When he was at the door he proceeded to approach to open it, but then his sense, which was polished all this time throughout his fights, warned him of a danger, so he quickly backed away, dodging a sword blow that was aimed at his head which destroyed the part where he was before. Issei, wow, that was close, he said, looking at the being that almost killed him in that attack. Wow, I remember you. 5 years ago you were with Renala's daughter at my farewell party. You are her servant, aren't you? But he only received a grunt from him as he jumped again, brandishing his sword towards him, which he dodged while drawing his sword and redirecting the cut to the side, impacting the ground only to then kick him in the stomach, sending him away from him. Issei, fine if that's what you want, come to me, damn flea. I'm ready to send you to the abyss just like all the creatures who tried before, he said, brandishing his sword while moving it from side to side. Both looked at each other seriously as they began to spin in place when the sound of a bell was heard in the distance, starting the fight where both hit their swords, creating sparks from the clash. Both were fighting forcefully, destroying the area where they were. The exchange of blows was forceful. The sound of the swords colliding with each other was the only thing that was heard around the area. The smell of metal and blood was what lingered. The blows were getting quieter due to the tiredness of both. Issei was quite surprised. Despite behaving like an animal, his adversary was skilled in handling the sword, and his agility was very annoying, so that he could not give him a good blow to knock him out. Issei, well, officially you are the most elusive and annoying opponent I have ever faced, and that the imps in the dungeon were quite a pain when they attacked you from behind. Suddenly he straightened his body and charged towards him to finish this, which was imitated by the enemy. Both upon reaching the other clashed their swords in a last exchange, only to pass by each other holding their weapons in a cutting pose. The place fell silent while they were in that pose when Issei fell to his knees while holding his sword, breathing exhausted. Behind him his opponent collapsed on the ground while his weapon broke into several pieces. Issei, well, it's been a while since I had a fight as close as this one. I must admit that only the dragons at first managed to leave me in this state, he said as he got up and approached the body of his opponent, who was barely breathing due to the cut he had on his chest courtesy of Issei. Blade just stood still. The wound left him out of combat, due to its depth, but when Issei approached he noticed how in his gaze there was a hint of happiness and gratitude, as if deep down he was happy that someone freed him from his enormous burden. Issei, I see, in the end you're being succumbed to the curse of this kingdom. You can go in peace, noble warrior, you are free from this eternal torment, he said, raising his sword and bringing it down suddenly on his head, decapitating him quickly and painlessly. You were a great warrior in life, but in the end no one manages to avoid this disgusting curse. I swear that I will free this kingdom from the creature that cursed them in this way, even if it is the last thing I do. Issei only heard one last sigh before Blade's body disappeared into dust, but that sigh was one of peace and happiness. After that he stood for a moment looking at where his opponent's body had once been, but then decided to move on, entering the tower in search of the Guardian to end his search. Underworld leaders meeting 2 days until liberation from the abyss. All the leaders were present, along with Valerie's group and Rias and Sona's entourage, trying to figure out a way to seal the abyss's rift. Everyone was serious about this because the meeting had set a deadline for their troops to surrender, and the horrors of the abyss would invade. Seraphal, Odin Dano should tell us what he knows about Issei's investigation so we can save ourselves from this danger. Remember that not only our people are in danger but yours as well as those of the other factions. Odin, no, nothing in your research suggests a way to close the gap. We can only find a way to do it on our own thanks to the idiocy of all of you in causing him to commit suicide. Red, tell the truth, Odin, there really was no way for us to seal that rift. Odin, as I said, there is no way to seal it. Only Issei knew or should know thanks to the fact that he was studying everything related to it when he was free. If you want to blame someone, blame all those idiots who caused our only hope to leave this world. Sir Odin Dano, it wasn't our fault that he did that. It all happened because he wanted it. Odin, then tell me who are the ones who locked him in that pit without him being able to defend himself or say anything. Hey, tell me who are the stupid ones who decided that. Seraphal, but... Odin, let me tell you who they were. They were those stupid people who decided to believe 2 stupid kids who said they did everything when the person who really did it was despised and chained in the worst hole that could exist in the world. They were those who decided to lock up the only person who could save us right now, and all because those who are people of great status only looked at the titles and powers that certain people had, leaving aside the only true person who was truly worth it. Tell me seriously, do you think that after all he would tell you everything he worked hard to achieve just so they could save their disgusting skins? He shouted quite angrily as he got up. Red, Odin, calm down, this is not the time for that. Odin, but... Everyone turned their gaze when the door to the meeting room was opened by the god Hermes, who was quite agitated, being followed by 2 demonic guards who followed him. Hermes, Zeus, we have a serious problem on Olympus, he shouted, trying to compose himself. Zeus, what's up, Hermes, what's up? Hermes, someone stole everything related to the project you were working on with young Issei. Zeus, how can that be possible? The vault where those records were kept was guarded by dozens of the best Spartans in our ranks. He shouted in anger at the information. Red, Zeus, what project are you talking about and what relationship does he have with Issei? I asked seriously. Zeus, It was an improvement project for our army, thanks to which our troops became even stronger than before. It also counted as an improvement scheme for our defenses with the help of Hephaestus. Quetzalcoatl, and you didn't think we needed to know about that when we're debating what Odin knows? She said, annoyed. Zeus, as I said, it was a project that would improve the situation of Olympus. It wasn't something that any of you should know about, being in a situation where everything was quite fragile in the alliances that were created. Michael, but you should have considered that it was important information to tell us that you were in cooperation with him. We had to know that you were working with him secretly when he was allied with us. Zeus, seriously, you damn faggot, remember how they treated him. I, like Odin, knew how to value everything Issei offered us, so don't come telling me that they should know when they never cared. Odin, listen to me. Zeus, calm down, tell me who knew about this project you were working on. Zeus, only 4 people knew about it: Hephaestus, Issei, my daughter Athena, and of course myself. Ryu, so it was your own daughter who did it. She was always a follower of the stupid Issei's way of thinking. I wouldn't be surprised to see that she destroyed everything he gave his life to so that no one else would use it to their advantage. Zeus, you better stop barking nonsense with that mouth of yours, you damn boy. Remember that all of this is because of you and your sister, so the only one I see as having reasons to eliminate everything related to Issei is you two. Odin, searches, you better control this idiot or else we will have trouble. He has provoked enough, so you better shut him up before either Zeus or I receive any more. Circe, that was perhaps a threat to my Odin. Odin, take it as you wish, but you better get it under control before what I so long for happens. But before anything could happen, a Valkyrie appeared in the middle of the room, attracting Odin's attention upon seeing her. Odin, Ross, what is happening that you appeared like this at this meeting? Rosweiss, Odin-sama, someone is trying to enter the workshop that prohibited entry. The forces are trying to enter to capture the transgressor. We need your presence right now. Everyone was surprised by that, so they all wanted to go see. But Odin was reluctant to do so, but he didn't have time to stop them since everything important related to Issei was in danger, so he didn't say anything. Asgard throne room main workshop. They all appeared in the middle of Odin's throne only to see the Asgardian troops in front of the workshop door in a fighting stance waiting for the intruder to come out. Odin, whoever you are, you better get out of there right now. You're completely surrounded by my soldiers. You can't escape. Everyone was waiting for the person who would come out, the one who was eliminating all the chestnut's work. Suddenly everyone saw how the workshop door showed signs of opening, so the Asgardians prepared their weapons ready to receive him. The leaders were waiting for this, but they were surprised to see that the person who came out was a woman who was covered with a hood while holding some plans that were Issei's works. Odin, let go of all that. Those things are too important for you to have. That is the lifetime work of a very important person, he said seriously. The woman only tightened her grip, not wanting to let go of all of that, which was noticed by everyone present. So they approached until they saw how the woman grabbed one of the scrolls and disintegrated it in front of everyone. Odin immediately ordered everyone to stay still since he understood what the stranger was trying to do. I know very well what all these scrolls represent. They are Issei's life. They are all the effort he dedicated when he was alive. Odin, then why are you destroying everything he put his effort into if you know what they meant to him? Because I don't want all his effort to fall into the hands of the wretches who killed him just because of their disgusting greed. You must understand me well, Odin. Issei told you what he wanted you to do if something happened to him, but you didn't do it. Odin, I couldn't destroy everything he had dedicated his life to. I couldn't do it, but tell me how you know all that if at that moment it was only him and me. Tell me how you know Issei and you can be saved from all this. He was the person who saved my life and gave it a new meaning. He knew the danger I represented when he saved me and took me to his side. I was a bad person, but he saw salvation in me. That is why I cannot allow everything I work on to fall into the hands of those rotten people who murdered him. I cannot allow it. Odin, but who are you? The woman just fell, faced with that question, but without a hint of doubt the woman directed one of her hands to her hood, uncovering her face, which surprised everyone present due to who it was. Seraphil, impossible, you can't be here. Azazel, I killed you that time, you can't be alive. Ryu, I knew that Issei was allied with those of your class. I knew that he was the unfortunate one that I simply said. But before anyone else could say anything, the woman launched an attack towards Ryu which sent him flying under everyone's gaze. Don't you dare say that about the person I love the most. No one knows Issei better than me, and I'm not going to allow them to defame the man who gave meaning to my life or stop being the only woman who was by his side until the last moment. She said, crying because of that. Odin, I assumed so. Issei always told me that there was someone else who helped him when he was investigating. He told me that it was a person with a complicated background, so he couldn't say who it was, but I didn't expect that person to be Eukateria Leviathan. Now the woman was quite serious in front of everyone. She had finally shown her face to the person who was taken from her, the only man who could tame her intrepid heart. But what will happen now that he has made himself known to everyone? Chapter 5. Everyone was shocked. The former Mahu Leviathan, the only living descendant of the ancient Mahu, had revealed that she had worked with Issei. But what surprised them even more was her declaration that he was the only man she loved, the one who was considered the most reluctant and stubborn woman when it came to settling down. Odin, Kateria, stop. I understand what you mean, but remember that all of that was what Issei worked so hard for. Do you think that destroying them will bring him peace? Think carefully about what he would do. You of all people should know about it after all. Leave all the papers on the floor and let's talk calmly. Now is not the time to be fighting amongst ourselves. The world is in danger, and only together can we overcome this calamity. Izari, Odin, what the hell are you talking about? Let's attack her now and finish her once and for all. Remember that she is the enemy. Odin, and no one will do anything in my lands. What I say here is law, you understand. If you dare to attack her while on my lands, I myself will kick you out of here by my hand, understood? Sir Issei, but you have no right to do that. Odin, if I can and I will. Now all of you are in my domain, and if you try to do what you want in it, you will face all my people and their power, it is clear. Azazel, do you think we'll stay? Odin, I said it, it is clear. Behind him all the soldiers pointed their weapons towards the group while Thor began to prepare his hammer. No one said anything because they were surrounded by all the warriors of the Asgardian pantheon, so they had to accept their order while they were there, although Ryu and Izari were totally annoyed by it. Middle Lands Elden Ring. Issei had managed to reach the top of the lunar tower after inspecting the other two towers that were in the place. When he entered, he managed to see Renala's daughter sitting in the middle of the room on her throne, being totally still in a deep trance apparently. He approached and took a potion out of his pocket which he gently poured into her mouth. Obviously it would be delicate since she was the biological daughter of her adoptive mother, and she still had the memory of the beating of her two paternal figures by her hand the last day she was with them, and she didn't want to feel it in her being. The moment I finish pouring it, she shows signs of abandoning the trance. When she succeeds, she gives me a slightly peculiar look as if she saw something transcendental in my being. Rennie, it seems we meet again, young warrior. I'm glad to be able to have a conversation with you this time, besides waking up from the sleep I fell into. But how could you pass through Blade while being dominated by darkness? Unless... Issei, I'm sorry, but it was the only way I had to free him. But let me tell you that he left like every honorable warrior. But I swear that I will avenge him by banishing the creature that started all this evil in this world. But I need your help for that. Rennie, no one has been able to defeat that creature. They couldn't even reach it. Only death and despair await anyone who tries. No one could gather all the seals to see it because its guardians are extremely powerful beings. Issei, that's not necessary. I have almost all the seals. I'm only missing the one of the lunar deity, your patron. That's why I need your help and support to finish my mission and bring peace to this world that needs it so much. POV, that came out like a hero's monologue. Rennie, if you want my help, you must bring me the Dark Moon Ring. Only with it can I leave my position as guardian of the lunar deity, and be able to leave without her permission. Without that ring I can do nothing for you. Issei, but where can I find it? I've traveled all over the territories on my crusade and I haven't found anything with that name. Rennie, that's why I'll accompany you on this mission. Issei, and how would that be? You can't leave here without that ring. Rennie, true, but I never said I would go in this body, but rather with this one, she said, showing a doll that had her appearance. Underworld. Everyone was gathered in the throne room of Asgard at this time, but the Abrahamic leaders were serious because Odin and Zeus were protecting Kateria by their side while Red was neutral at this time but remained by Odin's side, implying that he would help them. Zeus, tell me, Kateria, what did you do with the plans I had stored in Olympus that I made with Issei? Kateria. Odin, Kateria, I know you don't trust much, but remember that both Zeus and I, as well as our people, were with Issei at all times. You know very well that if he didn't trust us, he wouldn't have helped us. Kateria, I have them in my possession. I was planning to gather everything he did to undo him in one fell swoop without any complications. Odin, I understand you can return the plans you stole to us. I swear that by my name no one other than me will be able to have them while I live, and I should assume the same of you, Zeus, right? He received a nod from him. Kateria, then I want to at least keep everything else of his, even his projects that have nothing to do with his factions, in exchange. Michael, you're asking too much, Leviathan. Remember your situation. Odin, Michael, I remember saying that none of you had any concern in this. I only allowed you to remain present at Red's request, otherwise I would have killed you. Don't test my patience. Zeus, for my part, it seems fair to me, Kateria, but it may cost me a little because of certain people who were very close to him. Odin, who we are talking about, Zeus? Zeus. Well, Suddenly the door to the room was opened by two women that everyone recognized, but Zeus was completely worried about what would happen if they found out what Kateria was asking for in exchange for the plans for Olympus. Father, what the hell are you doing? Do you really think you're going to change everything Issei created by our side just because this wretch wants it? Remember that we were the ones who were by his side during the whole time he was in Olympus. We were the ones who helped him in each of his investigations or projects that he put together, the ones who took care of him so that no goddess or demigoddess ate him. We were even the ones who fought against Aphrodite when she caught him and took him to her private chambers. We are the only ones who were by his side like a family. And now you think to give up all the hard work that it took us to build with him just because she stole what by right was a gift from him to us. You are being very soft alone because she is a woman. Zeus, Athena, Artemis, you know very well what his wish was if something like this happened. You yourselves were the ones who promised to fulfill it. Athena, we know it, but that doesn't give you the right to give it to her. Kateria, and you think you have the right to have an opinion about that. You promised, but you didn't do it. You claimed to be the closest to him when you couldn't even fulfill his last wish. Instead, I swore on my life to fulfill it, and I will do so even if I have to kill you all to achieve it. No one deserves to know everything that his effort created, and no one will use it while I am still alive. Artemis, HO, and you think you can stop us from recovering them from you. Remember that even if you are a descendant of the ancient Mahus, you cannot compare yourself to us, and less so if we are both together. Kateria, and you think you can do it. Remember that I already have all your work in my power. If I wanted, I could destroy it right now and you wouldn't stop me. I'm only listening to you because you were one of the few people who trusted him, otherwise he would have destroyed you. So dare to try, and I will not hesitate to eradicate each one of your works so that they can't put their claws on you and more these scum who were his killers. Ryu, I'm tired of you, you damn wretch. You're just a stupid, useless hitch, just like my brother. I'll show you your damn place. Everyone saw how suddenly Ryu tried to go towards her, but when he summoned the armor it automatically disappeared, leaving him totally out of control, crashing into the ground, which Kateria took advantage of and launched her water attack, sending him flying towards one of the pillars of the room. The leaders and Ryu's girls got up, getting into combat position to attack her for that reason. Circe, I knew we couldn't trust you, you were always our enemy, Kateria. Odin, Circe, stop right now, your sister's stupid pawn was the one who started it all, so stop or I will stop you all myself. Seraphil, Odin, she is our enemy. Even if she wasn't the one who started this, she is still an enemy of our faction, so hand her over or we will act. Zeus, I see you think you can do whatever you want. Remember your place, damn demons. This whole mess started with your stupidity, so you'd better calm down. Azazel, Zeus, you'd better not get in the way. We've already forgotten that you were working with Issei on the foot, so I don't think you should come to us with trouble. They were all about to attack each other when suddenly they all fell to the floor while an aura began to be felt in the place. They all saw Red with his arms crossed looking at them coldly. Red, enough already all of you, this is not the time for your stupid differences. Remember the problem we have with the abyss right now. Sir Shay, control your people or I will do it myself. Odin, you also control yourself, you are the most experienced of them, prove it. Sir Shay, but Red. Red, I already told you what you would do. If you don't plan on doing it, you'll see why you call me the strongest being in the world. Sir Shay had to accept it, since if he wanted all his people could disappear, and with his recent problem he did not believe that the other factions would help him, but Rias was not happy, so under the gaze of everyone she went to Kateria wanting to kill her for touching her pawn. Just when she was about to touch her from Kateria's cape, Issei's familiar comes out in small form who attacks Rias, sending her flying towards her brother, who catches her but sees how hurt she is. Kateria, Sklinir, I told you to stay home. It was too dangerous for you to come with me. Odin, wait, wasn't that the familiar that Surtur II gave to Issei when he met him? Kateria, yes it is. But when Issei died he became free. But when he saw me he was with me since I was close to him. He recognized me as his new master when it happened, and from what you saw he even defended me when I was about to be hurt by that hitch. Odin, I'm surprised he accepted you. Only the master's own family can be chosen as the new owner when he dies. But how could he have chosen you if you're not? Wait, don't tell me that you and him, he said, stupefied by the revelation. Kateria, yes Odin, that's why he accepted me and not the scum of his brothers. Odin, ha 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 ha, seriously, Kateria was able to captivate you to that degree? That damn wretch knew how to surprise me even when he was dead. No wonder you knew how to enter the workshop and the Olympus headquarters, ha 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 ha. His laughter caught the attention of everyone present. Sir Shay, what do you think is so funny, Odin? Don't you see how I leave that thing with my sister? Odin, well obviously everything seems funny to me, damn Siskin, how could it not be if what I found out was quite surprising, ha 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 ha, and what happened to your idiot sister was only because of her outrage. You should be thankful for it, since if I had done something I would have intervened. Even Red would have done it since she disobeyed him, ha 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 ha. Her laughter only managed to make most people uncomfortable, while Kateria out of her personality was blushing with embarrassment, since Odin knew the reason why Issei's familiar chose her, but there was something else that she didn't know, but Odin did, so it was obvious that he would be that happy. Zeus, what's wrong Odin, why are you laughing like that? Odin, what's happening, my good colleague, is that here in front of us is the first woman who managed to snatch away the stupid innocence of our fallen colleague Issei, and all under our noses. Now I understand the reason why she no longer wanted to accompany us to the nightclubs at the time, ha ha ha. Red, what are you talking about, Odin? Say it properly. Odin, oh Red, believe me, you will like what I say. Tell me why you think Sklinir protected Kateria from the Gremry brat. Red, because she was a friend of Issei? Odin, no my giant friend, the Sklinir only protect their masters and their family and blood. Even if it is an acquaintance, or a very good friend, they would not protect them if it is not a close relative of their masters, ha ha ha. Red, wait, are you saying that she is? Odin, if Red she is, I think this is the funniest thing that could have happened to us, ha ha ha. Athena, Odi, I don't know what does that mean, that she is Issei's if his familiar protected her. Odin, tell me Athena, goddess of wisdom, you know the features of the Sklinir. Athena, yes, I know that they are conscious beings who swear loyalty to only one person, and that loyalty only works for him and anyone related by blood to him, or if it is someone. Her eyes opened wide when she looked towards Kateria as she began to slowly raise her aura, wanting not to believe it. Artemis, which means Athena, tell me sister. Izari, and what does it mean that my brother's stupid relative chose her? He's just another person better than that stupid Issei. Odin, listen to me, spawn of the demon, what makes the Sklinir's loyalty connection special is that only its owner and his family can command it. If it is not the couple or his offspring, no one else can swear loyalty to it, and how Kateria was able to do it is for an obvious reason, is that she is Issei's partner. That's why Sklinir chose her as his new mistress when Issei committed suicide because of her stupid fault, ha ha ha. Azazel, and that she has to be his partner. Odin, always such an idiot. Michael, Tell me how a couple swears love to each other in the world MMM. Artemis, wait a moment, the only reason a couple can be considered as such is that both of them must. Odin, ha 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 ha, exactly, both of them must have given themselves body and soul so that the bonds with Sklinir can accept her as such. Kateria is Issei's wife, that's why he protected her from the stupid Gremry tantrum, ha 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 ha. Elden Ring realm, 2 years since the last time. 2 years passed since Issei began his journey in search of the Dark Moon Ring so he could free Rennie from her duty as guardian of the lunar deity. But this time she was accompanied by Rennie herself, who possessed a doll with her image to guide him to the place. During their journey they both got to know each other little by little until they formed a chemistry between them, although neither knew how to declare themselves to the other due to the nature of their world. Let's say that since they were both trained by the same woman/mother, they had the same tastes for magic. There were times when they both fought against enemies that appeared in their path, others where they both enjoyed the scenery when they could take a break from the battles. But as always, things were not easy. When they reached the area where the path to the underground was, a place where a creature guarded the Dark Moon Ring, they even managed to find out that not only was that there, but a weapon that could help them in the end was also guarded in that place. Crossing the entire underground was not a thing easy. It was nothing compared to the difficulty that Issei had to face outside. The creatures were tougher and stronger. Even the elite monsters seemed to have gained greater intelligence. It was simply complicated to reach the location of both objects. The first was the ring, which when he managed to obtain it after having defeated the guardian creature, although the surprise it gave was quite surprising in a way. Flashback. Issei and Rennie the doll were in front of the chest that was guarded by the guardian, and it was the Dark Moon Ring. Let's say that when Issei took it, both he and Rennie's doll were transported to what they believed to be the spiritual sanctuary of the lunar deity. When they both discovered where they were, the same lunar deity appeared in front of them. It should be said that even Rennie was surprised by this, since she did not know that this would happen, but what he told them was something that impacted them greatly, even more so Rennie. Lunar deity. I see that at last a brave soul managed to find the Dark Moon Ring, and more than anything it was one that my priest herself chose. Rennie, my guardian and priest, are you ready to finish our contract and form the family you so desired? Rennie, wait, how about forming the family I've always wanted? Why are you here if I'm still in the lunar tower, protecting it so no one invades with malicious intent? Did you know this would happen? Lunar deity. Hey Rennie, I always knew about your desire for freedom. This is just an illusion created by me for whoever managed to find the ring that would give you freedom. But only those who truly wanted your freedom for good reasons would be able to obtain it. Tell me what you think is the reason why he was able to do it. Rennie, to help him bring freedom from this world to his side. Lunar deity. In a way, that was partly it, but there's something else that both of them can't understand because of the nature of this world. Both of them are. And flashback. Both of them. Let's say that after the talk they were quite nervous, but it didn't stop them from continuing on their way and finding the sword that was there. When they finished the search for the ancient weapon, they both began their journey towards the academy where their mother and others were waiting to see them before continuing with their journey. They stopped at the lunar tower so they could lift Rennie's real body, but as always the world was quite unpredictable, so as soon as everything happened the weather prevented them from continuing with the return to their home. When Issei put the Dark Moon Ring on her pinky, they both blushed because now by decision of the lunar deity both were engaged. According to the deity, for Rennie to be free of her duty she should marry the man who brings her the ring. At first she hesitated, but when she remembered all the talks in Issei's life she decided to go ahead with him for the rest of her life, so she raised her hand and gave him the right to marry her, and although they planned to go to his mother's academy due to time they had to postpone it. Although in a way it favored them since they both knew that being married to the lunar deity, and having his vote of confidence, they should seal the agreement in a physical way. Issei and Rennie, now names the being back free, were in the bedrooms of the tower giving each other a long kiss because they both knew what they felt for each other. After a few minutes they both separated their lips only to proceed to look at each other while smiling at being together. Issei, Rennie, I swear to love you from now on. During our journey, I saw what I so desired in my life, a woman who would follow me on my journey, which is life itself. I'm glad you're that woman, my beautiful porcelain doll. Rennie, Issei, remember this, I will always be your wife. Together we will follow the path that destiny has for us. I am glad to have known you better when you helped me, and now I will show you after all we are now husband and wife. Rennie and Issei continued kissing after that talk, but that kiss of love they gave each other had become a passionate one where their tongues danced in their mouths and stuck even closer. Issei felt the magician's breast even though she didn't show it, he could feel it. They both continued kissing intensely but had to separate due to lack of air, but leaving a line of saliva. They both breathed heavily, the heat, but also the desire they needed, but the one who wanted it the most was Rennie. She kissed Issei again, who reciprocated it but felt that his now wife was pushing him until he fell on the bed in the tower. Issei looked at Rennie, those blue eyes that gave off a desire to do it all night, along with a mischievous smile. Lemon skipped. They were both breathing heavily and looked to kiss again, but even so, it was not enough for both of them, who continued with their honeymoon, hearing the blows of flesh colliding against each other, moans and grunts in the tower. Chapter 6. Asgard Throne Room. The surprise was evident on the faces of everyone present, while Odin and Zeus were laughing at having found out that their friend at least had his moment before leaving this world, although the goddesses and girls who had feelings for him were not happy about it. Zeus, that son of a hitch, Odin had it well hidden, but who would have said it? Of all the people I knew, seriously, he managed to give his caresses to the most stubborn woman of the demons, ha 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 ha. I bet it wasn't just around knowing what he abstained from on the days we went to the clubs in your territory or mine, ha ha ha. That wretch had such a woman by his side to satisfy himself. Odin, ho ho ho, you're right about that, my perverted friend, that boy had it well hidden from him. At that he looks at the blushing Kateria to say, Tell me, Kateria, can I ask something? Kateria, if it's for how long we last, I'm not going to answer that, dirty old man, she said, growling under her breath. Odin, ha ha ha, no, I don't care, it's already in him. What I want to know is if you have the fruit of his love growing inside you. Those words disoriented those present, including Zeus and Red, and the goddesses and girls were completely paralyzed by that mention. According to what he knows, he told me that he found a way to effectively get women pregnant through a potion that I believe gives both couples a greater chance of producing offspring. He even demonstrated it to me when he gave me a set for my wife and me. Zeus, wait, Odin, is Freya pregnant again? Odin, yes, Zeus, and all thanks to the help of Issei and his knowledge of alchemy. I even asked for a batch for my warriors who wanted to have children. Tell me why you think it was very well received by them. Kateria, wait, so that was the liquid he gave me that day when we did it. He told me it was a gift for me that would give me what I so much want. She suddenly knelt down and looked at her stomach, starting to cry and caress it under the gaze of everyone present. Odin just walked up to her and knelt down while putting his hand on her shoulder to get her attention. Odin, Issei knew how much you wanted to start a family, he even wanted it himself. So when he started experimenting to create that potion, he told me that the main reason for that was because of you. He wanted to give you that child that you both wanted so much so that you could see that he was serious. Zeus, but how do you know that if, as you said, you didn't know about her, Odin? Odin, thanks for ruining the moment, Zeus. Zeus. Odin, he told me that he had several candidates to be his partner because of his feelings. But because of their races, their birth rate was very low, so he decided to create that potion to give them the family they wanted to be with him. Apparently Kateria was the first to tell them her feelings up front, wasn't she? Kateria just nodded, very happy to know that Issei thought of her when giving her the son he wanted so much. Zeus, wait, why doesn't she show any signs of being pregnant if she drank that potion? Kateria, I did it with him when he was locked up, she said, drawing everyone's attention again. It was a week before all this happened and his death, she said, sobbing. We both spoke through a magic circle created by him so that no one would notice, and that day he asked me to see him and to bring the 2 bottles he had in his private laboratory where we lived. That caught the attention of the factions. He told me it was something special and that he wanted to take it with me that day. When we did, he asked me to eliminate everything related to him. When he left, he knew that the factions would look for him for answers, so he decided to deny them help even if they tortured him. It hurt me to hear him say that he would give his life, since apparently these sons of hitches cursed him with a curse that prevented him from escaping from his cell or the prison. That's why, even reluctant to leave him alone, he asked me to go ahead, so in a last act of faith and devotion for him I decided to give myself to him completely. That was when we did it, although thanks to my magic I managed to seal the cell so that no one would know what happened there. The next day we finished our thing and said goodbye, although I refused at first, but he made me promise to stay alive, and in exchange there would be something that would give me the reason to do it. And now I know what it is that gives me the reason to go on. That idiot was not able to tell me that day," she said, crying louder. "No wonder. I wonder what we would name our son or daughter that day." As I did not notice his smile, but because of my race I thought he was only trying to make me accept his request. Odin, how that child always so mysterious with his way of giving clues. That's why no one apart from him knew the recipe or plans of his experiments. He who would say that he would leave offspring in this world before leaving. "Zeus, Odin, let's make an oath," he said, surprising everyone by the seriousness with which he said it. "Let's swear to protect our nephew and Kateria from whoever tries to hurt them. Issei was a good friend and colleague with everything he gave us, so at least let's make sure that his family is safe by our side from now on." "Odin, you are right, Zeus. I will not let what I love so much in this life be hurt by its enemies. From today, I, Odin, god of Asgard, swear by my name and my people that Kateria Leviathan and her son, the fruit of her and Issei's love, are allies and will be fully protected by the entire Nordic faction. Zeus, and I, god of the Olympians, and their leader Zeus, from today also swear to protect both of their person from all evil in my name, and that of my entire faction." They both shook hands in an oath while a magic circle was created between them, uniting their oaths together, implying the seriousness of the pact. Azazel, Michael, Seraphil, and Circe were about to protest that pact until Red. "I, dragon of sleep and true dragon god, in the presence of this pact, give my approval as a legitimate and unbreakable oath between both deities." Making the circle between Odin and Zeus surrounded by a red aura, creating chains between them. "Ryu, wait, Red, because you are giving your approval to this pact with that woman who is our enemy along with that idiot Issei. Izari, remember that all this happened because of them two who knew about the Trihexa seal and what it encouraged. Quetzalcoatl, and tell us who led him to that by locking him up and torturing him just because his stupid arrogance wanted it. Artemis, if you hadn't done it, all this wouldn't have happened, but because of you now something worse than Trihexa itself is trying to get in from this side. Seraphil, it's not our fault. Who told him to put his life as insurance on the seal when he couldn't do anything? He imposed that burden on himself and didn't tell anyone. Athena, did they give him a chance to say it? Nobody responded. Come on, you damn idiots. All of this happened just because they didn't believe in him, or even pay attention to what he said, and so on. They did not even know that he worked with Odin or with our people. Even tell me what was the reason for having him locked up in the worst prison that there was in this world. Circe, that is none of your concern, Miss Athena. He was a prisoner of our faction, so we should not give them an explanation regarding his imprisonment, or the reason why. When Athena was about to speak, a guard entered to make way for a group of people who were guarding the gap as their replacements. Hades, I see Zeus and Odin are very busy right now. Zeus, Hades, I see you've been relieved of your guard. How are things going in the breach area? Hades, we're barely keeping up with his expansion. The pressure he generates is getting stronger and stronger, and his creatures are getting stronger but are appearing in fewer and fewer numbers. Every 2 or 3 hours there's a new being that crosses the gap, so we have time to regroup after each fight against them. Azazel, and how are our troops doing at Hades Dano's place? Hades, they are good despite their inexperience in the field, but the group of demons led by young Agars gave good strategies to stop them and take them down. Sigvera, Hades, I'm glad to hear your opinion, but we need to talk about why we came. Nyx, watch your tone, demon, remember your position in front of us. Hades, calm down, Nyx, remember that she is right at this moment. Odin, what do you need to report about the breach? Hades, it is presenting very strong anomalies. Apparently it is stabilizing with each beast that crosses to this side. Red, what do you mean by that, Hades? Latia, it is possible for us to pass to the other side. We saw that each time the portal expands more, but at the same time it seems that it is adapting the place to what seems to be the other side. Around it there is flora very different from that of our world, so we believe that it is terraforming this world like its own. Mr. Ajuka Beelzebub is analyzing the samples to give us a more specific idea of what is happening. Azazel, amazing, a new world to explore with new resources and strange powers. Michael, and where do those creatures of the spawn come from? Remember that place is the abyss itself, a zone where only evil and death exist. Hades, nothing like a picnic for me, and my people in fact hee. Red, we must go see what is happening and ask Beelzebub for information about what he discovered. When everyone was about to teleport, they heard a knock and watched to the side as Thor protected Kateria from an attack by Ryu. Ryu, Thor, stop coming between her and me, this is a personal issue, so step aside now. Thor, Security, I remember where you are right now, she is an ally of my people, she is even a guest that carries the protection of the All-Father, so you better back off or I will be forced to hurt you. Odin, Circe, you better control it or I won't have the slightest doubt about intervening in this. Remember, you're on my territory and she's my guest. Circe, do you think attacking the pillar of the factions is simple, Odin? Remember, he's our savior, and it won't look good if his people hurt him. Or tell me, do you think the Asgardian people would approve? Zeus, are you trying to play with us, demon? Seraphil, we weren't just saying what was happening. Suddenly, everyone fell silent as they watched Ryu fly away from the impact of Mjolnir, which crashed into a pillar in the room. Everyone stood on guard, but Odin, Zeus, and Thor quickly surrounded Kateria, putting her behind them to protect her, as several of Ryu's women had their sights set on her. Nix, Fufufu, what is happening and why is that woman being protected by them? Wasn't she a criminal? Valerie, Kateria was previously an enemy as she was from the ancient Mahus faction, but apparently she was Issei's partner before committing suicide or even being condemned. She said, annoyed by her. Nyx became serious upon learning that, which caught Hades' attention upon seeing her like that, but Ryu just stood up, calling his armor ready to launch the attack, being imitated by the others until they all fell to the ground due to an aura, with Red being the one who stopped them. Red, you're driving me crazy, behave properly you damn idiots, Security, you better calm down and stop causing trouble or else I'll end this once and for all, you understand, and I don't want excuses. We're busy enough with the creatures that appear to add your tantrum over a woman, so stop or I'll be forced to calm you down. Circe, you'd better start taking action with your people or I won't respond to what will happen. Intermediate World Elden Ring. Issei and Rennie, after their honeymoon and time permitting, began their journey to the Lucia Academy again to meet with their mother/adoptive/mother-in-law and let her know their situation, although Issei was reluctant to do so because he expected a certain situation that mortified him. Rennie, come on my love, don't worry, nothing will happen to you, I'm sure even she will be happy about our relationship, she said, hugging Issei. Issei, do you really think so? From what I understand, mothers are very overprotective of their only daughter, even more so if her supposed stepbrother is her partner, even having consummated the act, let alone being engaged by a deity, and being united for life. He said blankly because of this. Rennie, you have fought formidable creatures for as long as you can remember, you even fought others just because they saw me with lustful eyes without fear, and now you are afraid of our mother? Issei, it's very different. With them the afterlife awaits me in a simple way. With her extreme suffering awaits me without having to die, even more so with her healing magic with which she won't let me die. Do you remember how she mopped the floor with Godfrey and my uncle? Well, that time she held back because of your appearance, otherwise it would surely take until dawn to hit them with everything. Rennie, don't worry, remember that she loves us, so she will understand for sure. A while later they were both in front of the castle gates waiting to enter. Issei, I don't want to go in. I'm too young to suffer like this, he said fearfully. Rennie, where is the man who swore to fight for my hand against whoever is necessary? Issei. Rennie, come on, I'm by your side. Issei, and what will we tell her, is more that I will tell her. Hello mother, you will not know what happened. It happens that on my trip I fell in love with the one who would be my stepsister, and we swore in front of the lunar deity to get married. We even made an eternal oath where due to a storm we decided to stay in the tower until it calmed. down, and because of being married we used that time for our honeymoon where we did it until the storm passed, which was 3 whole days without resting, and we do not know if we went too far, so it possibly got her pregnant, which does not matter to me because I love her, and I will raise that child with the woman I love most in this world. Rennie, that was very detailed, she said, blushing. Issei, I think we should lie a little, right? But suddenly Issei felt an incomparable fear because his life was in danger, and even more so when he heard. Renala, hey my boy, there's no need to lie to me since I heard everything from behind you. Tell me, what is that thing you did with Rennie and at the same time you wanted to hide it from me? I suppose you got the habit of lying to me or deceiving me from Godfrey, so I must re-educate you again so that it doesn't happen again, he said with his eyes half closed and a smile from end to end while his aura grew in a negative way. Issei, where are the beasts or creatures when you need them? He said, crying in the form of a little ball. Chapter 7. Lucia Academy. We can see how throughout the place the screams of incessant agony were heard, along with several more sounds of blows and attacks in escalation. Rennie could only watch in disbelief what was happening, or rather what her husband had warned her before. Renala was standing in front of the almost inert body of Issei, who was convulsing due to the pain caused by the punishment of his adoptive mother. Renala, oh my boy, do I need to educate you again with the values of respect that you have to have for me as your mother? Did you not see what happens when your father and uncle did it? She said while holding in her hands a 1-meter-long study wand which was used to point and whip in a painful way. Issei, not with the wand, anything but that. I swear not to do it again. I promise, Mom, please no more, he said, covering his face at least while trembling on the ground. From the door, Rennie only saw this, totally incredulous, since she remembered a familiar scene years ago where this same situation happened, only that Issei took the place of her brother Radon receiving his punishment. Rennie, this brings back old feelings, she said, putting her hand on her chest. But I must stop her or I will lose my husband before my time. Renala, Issei, you know that promises like that are not highly valued by me, and I still have to teach you about sleeping with your sister without my permission or without telling me, so prepare for your second punishment today, she said, infusing the wooden wand with a subtle electroshock enchantment. Issei, where's Fortisax when you need him? Damn Elder Dragon, at least you should have given me a spell against electrical attacks when I defeated you after sending lightning bolts at me like crazy. Rennie, mother, that's enough. We need to talk calmly, please. Besides, I don't want you to traumatize my husband before I can have a family with him. Besides, you haven't wanted me to give you grandchildren for a while now. Renala, this is different, daughter. He's your half-brother, and this kind of relationship isn't. Rennie, and are other men better? At least he's more respectful. You know him very well. He's the best kind of man I could ask for as my partner for my eternal life. Besides, we're not related by blood, so there's no problem, right? Renala, okay, I'll allow your relationship, but you'll have to get married again under my supervision. You're my children, and getting engaged without telling me is quite bad of you. Rennie, it's not our fault. The deity committed us, and almost that same day, without us knowing what to do. He didn't even allow us to warn you or tell you about it because it was a sacred pact. Renala, and what about the honeymoon? Was that also beyond his control, thanks to the deity? Rennie. Issei, in my defense, she was the one who came up with the idea, he said, trying to get out of the situation. Rennie, oh dear, I see we need to have a talk after this about going around talking when you're not invited, don't you think? She said while giving the same smile that her mother had given when she found out about their relationship. Issei, you show the blood of a dear mother, he said, making her aura grow as well as her mother's. I'd better fall or I'll dig my grave before my father's. Rennie, it's for the best, and as for that mother, it was a decision between both of us, with me taking the initiative, plus Issei wanted to come earlier to give you the premise, but due to the storm we couldn't get there earlier. Renala, oh alright, I forgive you for that, but you will still have to recreate the ceremony in front of me and the people. Issei is Godfrey's successor, which makes him the heir to the throne, so it must be made known to his people that he has your hand in marriage. You will be the new Queen Rennie as you are married to Issei. Rennie, wait, Issei is Uncle Godfrey's successor? She said excitedly, looking at Issei. Issei, Am I the old man's successor? He said, surprised seeing Renala. Renala. Rennie. Issei, what? Rennie, didn't you know Issei? Issei, it didn't even cross my mind, to be honest. Renala, this stupid Godfrey, he's a fight-loving idiot. He seriously forgot to tell you that important fact when you left on your trip. Issei, will I really be the monarch of this kingdom? Rennie, well, I married a king, above all else, brother, spouse and now monarch. What's missing from the list? Reincarnated or transmigrated from another world? She said, surprised. Issei, yeah, no, hee, you have a very funny mind, dear. He said nervously. Underworld Advanced Lab near the rift. We can see Ajuka in front of a kind of computer analyzing the samples extracted from the fissure area. He was surprised by the composition of the flora he collected. The data was very curious and intriguing the more he analyzed it. But he had to stop studying them because he was notified that the other leaders were about to arrive in the area to receive the information he had discovered so far. Although the extra guest they brought was a pleasant surprise, he knew he could not do anything as an ally of the Olympians and as guardians in addition to Red, who validated his pact. To say that he was tired would be an understatement. Since Issei's imprisonment happened, things began to get much more complicated than before. His own people clamored for answers from their leaders, and they still could not give them because they did not have much information about the rumored abyss. Only one person knew about it, and right now he was dead along with several convicts of extremely dangerous category that were in Tartarus. But he had to give credit to Issei, having managed to make the infamous Leviathan fall in love with him, while being just a simple human. Was grateful that this information was not revealed to the demonic masses, since the impact would be very devastating. Ajuka, even being dead, is capable of shaking the foundations of our lives. You are very impressive, Issei. It's a shame that no one believed you were the one acting behind the camera. Although he didn't have a relationship of acquaintances with the brown-haired man, he could say with everything that was happening that he was the biggest reason why everyone could be living their lives right now. He knew that everything he said he did was actually true, so he began to investigate thoroughly while he could to try to discover why no one knew or discovered it. In front of him appeared a large magic circle showing all the people who were in the emergency meeting in Asgard before, although he noticed that most were not in a very good mood because of the extra who accompanied them. Ajuka only approached Kateria, who was sitting on the ground, although Thor stood next to her, as did Odin and Zeus. He just looked at her and spoke. Ajuka, I found out about your relationship with Issei and that you are now a person protected by both Odin and Zeus, so I won't look for trouble with you. But I hope that while we are in this situation you will give us a hand to save us all, even if you have no reason to do so because the person you loved is no longer in this world. Kateria, even though I'm not very happy about helping them live longer, I still have a reason to do it, she said, caressing her stomach with a smile that unsettled Ajuka. Ajuka, wait, don't tell me what. Odin, she carries Issei's son inside her, Beelzebub, so make sure you don't try anything against her or I'll have to act to protect them. Ajuka, that's surprising. First of all, Ajuka reconsidered the idea he had about Issei. It wasn't surprising. He was a complete impressive man to have impregnated an ancient super demon so soon. Ajuka, it's surprising that you got pregnant in a short time. Sir Issei, that happened because of an invention on his part that increased his birth rate. Although he is not, according to what is known, there are several more samples in Kateria's possession that she preserves, and I believe that Odin has a couple more, but if that is the case, Kateria must have the data from that investigation, he said, looking at the aforementioned with caution, because she was the only one who knew where that data was. Just the mention of that invention changed the paradigm I had of Issei again. He was an incredibly crazy and cunning inventor. All this information will generate a lot of commotion if it is released just like that. Even more so if it is known that the creator of such a miraculous potion is dead at the hands of his leaders, even if it is informally. Red, what do you have to tell us about the Beelzebub fissure? Let's put aside the rest and focus on what's important. Ajuka, yes, what we have so far about that is very little but very informative at the same time. It seems that on the other side of the fissure there is another world or plane different from ours. I could even say that it is a parallel world to ours, which would be more feasible because even you cannot see it when traveling between the dimensional gap. But the most surprising thing is the type of energy that is emitted towards this side. It is very different from ours but at the same time similar. It has a different form from our mana but at the same time it has the same function as ours when we use a spell. Hades, so there's magic on that side too? Ajuka, exactly Hades. I would say that there is a different range to the magic we know. I could even say that it is much more varied than ours both in forms and power. But even so I tried to use that energy to stabilize a passage to that world from ours. Quetzalcoatl, wait, why do you want to create a pass to that world when we're trying to close it from ours? Ajuka, easy, let's suppose that as I said this parallel world is in some way similar to ours. We could suppose that it will also be similar in terms of what type of life there is in it, different gods, unknown races or that are extinct in ours. The varieties are infinite. Nix. And how important is that in our situation? Ajuka, simple. If the fissure was an accident that was unleashed on this side, then on the other there must be something or someone keeping it open. I don't think it's a coincidence that the monsters entered the portal on their own. That's why I suppose that if we managed to pass to that side and see what is keeping the fissure open, we could stop it in its tracks and prevent them from sending more of those creatures to ours. Although not everyone managed to see beyond what Ajuka saw, they knew that he was right about that. Something could be keeping and at the same time sending those things to their world to test it for possibly a larger scale invasion. Ajuka, and that's where what everyone is thinking comes in. If this someone is testing us to see our level of strength, it is possible that the reason the fissure is stabilizing is because that someone is doing it to possibly launch a large-scale invasion of our world, and due to our worn-out state we would not be able to stop him. Specifically by not knowing all the combat power he has at hand. If these creatures cost us as a group, imagine an army of thousands or millions invading us suddenly. We would practically be seeing our end. Everyone was horrified by that possibility. They didn't have enough power to stop them if necessary, and the only one who could do it was dead. Their options were limited, although one thought there was a way, but due to the relationship with her it would be difficult and complicated to force her. Ryu, hey, it's easy. Kateria has the plans and studies of the idiot Issei. Surely he wrote down something related to the fissure so we can close it on our own. After all, he knew about the abyss before it appeared. Kateria, I won't tell you or give anything about him to you. You removed him from my life, so don't think that I will help you get what he dedicated so much of his life to. Also, there was nothing about the abyss and the fissure in his data since I read them before deleting them in case it was something he left me specifically. Rias, you're lying. He caused this. He should have known how to avoid it. You're covering for her. While all this was happening, many of them began to fight to know everything about the studies that Issei did. Even the faction leaders who imprisoned him were planning how they could get their hands on those documents and plans. Intermediate World Elden Ring days after the talk with Renala. A few days had passed since the little talk that Issei and Rennie had with their mother Renala. She had decided to go see Godfrey to talk about the matter of Issei and his inheritance to the throne that he did not know, in addition to the preparations for the wedding. Meanwhile, Issei decided to end his entire mission, left with his beloved Rennie in search of eliminating the Beast of the Circle, vassal of the Greater Will and the living incarnation of the concept of order. But first they had to defeat her guardian male Nia, Miquella's sword, according to what her mother had told them. She consisted of two entities, siblings in one body, the main male Nia, while the secondary her brother Miquella, two people in one, both Empyreans. Rennie had searched for all possible information about her to look for weaknesses or openings. The result was null. She had a formidable defense, accelerated movements, and above all the reaction of two people in one. It took them a couple of days to get to where the beast and male Nia were. When they entered its area, they could see her sitting in her chair next to one of the roots of the large tree. When they approached, they could notice that she was not fully conscious, although when they got closer they noticed slight movements of her head, so Issei stood in front of Rennie to protect her, although what happened changed the situation. Male Nia, please wait, don't go any further or I'll be forced to hurt you, and I don't want any more innocent blood on my hands. Issei and Rennie were puzzled by what she told them. At first they hesitated until they decided to listen to her to make sure they understood her situation and her duty as guardian. Issei, explain to us what that means and why the guardian of that thing isn't determined to protect it from intruders. Male Nia, okay, but please don't come any closer while I tell you everything, or he'll attack you. Basically, male Nia began to tell them her entire life until she was enslaved by the beast of the circle along with the soul of her brother Miquela. How since birth she was a demigoddess and an empyrean, the fact that she inherited one of the great runes. The great devastation where she faced her brothers for control of the Middle Lands, and in the end where in one of their battles they managed to render her unconscious to later be welcomed by the beast and turn her into its guardian puppet. Issei and Rennie were surprised by her origin and her end in this place. During a small but very happy time, both decided to spend it with her, telling her several anecdotes of their travels as of their relationship and reunion. They were pleasant moments for male Nia, who had not had a chat for years, although as the three knew the time of this came to an end. Male Nia understood Issei's mission, so even not wanting to fight against him, or Rennie, she had to accept it, so she commented on each and every one of her skills and attacks to make the fight easier for them. After all, Issei showed great skill in war, so she had hopes that he would defeat her and free her from this torment. Issei, are you ready? Male Nia, although he was serious, his voice was that of someone worried. He knew her well despite only being together a couple of days. Male Nia, do it. Issei, please free me from this torment so I can go with my brothers. Issei just grabbed the handle of his sword seriously while male Nia lost consciousness and Miquela's puppet entered the scene. His eyes lacking freedom were noticeable, but he knew very well that he was extremely dangerous. After you, his mother was an ancient queen and goddess, so her blood ran that divine essence. He just gripped the handle of his sword Fragatak very tightly. Clearly he didn't want to fight to the death with them due to the short time he had known male Nia. She became fond of him just as he did with the redhead, so giving her her end was very sad. Issei just looked over his shoulder, noticing his wife Rennie in a position ready to help him in his tough fight with them, so he decided to charge forward while raising his sword on his shoulders. Both swords met, creating a loud bang. Issei knew it. He knew that she was fast according to her words, but this was another level. He could barely block the incessant cuts they gave with her katana. Their movements were very precise and fast. He stepped back when their katana crashed into the ground during one of his parries, which gave him time to reposition himself. Rennie saw this in the distance, and cast a speed and recovery spell on her beloved to help him. Although she was surprised that Issei was able to stay protected against that amount of cuts they gave against him, she knew he was strong, but she didn't know how much. Rennie, Issei, be careful. My spells will only last a few minutes before disappearing, so take advantage of them and plan a way to defeat them quickly. Issei, I know. After them we have the last boss, and we will free this world from that disgusting curse. While Issei charged again against male Nia, starting an exchange of cuts and blows, Rennie conjured a large mirror from which Renala could be seen along with Godfrey and Morgott watching the entire fight at the same time that Renala herself was transmitting the entire Issei fight to the kingdom so that they could see their future monarch and regent. Chapter 8. The cuts that Issei and male Nia threw at each other were fierce. The speed of each attack between them made the skin of the entire crowd that saw them through Rennie's spell stand up. Godfrey for the first time was serious watching his son fight against the guardians of that horrible creature. Renala only prayed that her two children would get out of there well. After all, that woman was part divinity, which complicated things quite a bit. Rennie, even maintaining the spell, only looked attentively for her husband in case things went wrong. Issei only imbued his weapons with every element he knew so far in order to take down male Nia and go for the next being that was in her body. He knew well that what was with her was not the soul of his brother. That is why he planned to eliminate her and free male Nia from that punishment and torment. But things were complicated. After all, male Nia was too skillful and fast with each attack of her sword. She could barely avoid receiving a serious cut. In one of her counterattacks he noticed how apparently Milenia's sentinel mode anticipated his actions, so she received a deep cut on her shoulder, causing her to grunt for it in front of everyone. In an eagerness to escape, Issei dropped a bomb that pushed male Nia away from his side, taking advantage of that for him to take distance from there. After all, he ended up very hurt by that cut. Rennie, Issei. Issei, calm down, it's nothing. Issei quickly applied a vial to her wound, closing it, although the burning and pain still lingered in the area, so seeing that her speed was superior and that her speed buff wouldn't last long keeping him close, he could only do the most strategic thing he could think of at that moment. Issei, I have no choice. If I want to beat you, I just have to surpass your speed before the next 3 minutes when my improvement ends. Then I will deal with the repercussions with Rennie and Renala, but right now I need mobility. In front of everyone's gaze, he began to remove the armor he had, gaining mobility and speed while leaving every object he had on the ground. Godfrey smiled at this. Even though he was worried, he was going to fight, giving his all and risking his life to defeat her. He had learned his way of fighting well. Renala, seeing this, just screamed hysterically since she was basically about to fight without any defense against a semi-deity. The people of the kingdom just looked at each other in surprise while some considered their lord's successor insane. Morgott, he got his stupid fighting ability from you, Godfrey. You're the only one I know who would be insane enough to go open against someone dangerous. Godfrey, if he wants to defeat her, it's his only option. After all, that extra weight made him slower, and his opponent specializes in his speed, so by getting rid of that he can even be at her level, while Rennie's buff lasts. Morgott, you know that if something happens to her, Renala will most likely kill you because she learned that from you, right? Godfrey, I don't care. If it happens, then I myself will end my life by not teaching my son Morgott well. Morgott, then let's hope he's better than all of us and manages to beat her. Issei just moved his body, adapting to his new weight, while he left his heavy sword and grabbed a lighter one to maintain his speed. Rennie, coming out of her shock, just yelled at him to know what the hell he intended by abandoning his armor. Rennie, Issei, what the hell are you thinking to do? Without armor you won't be able to survive. She is a semi-deity, you will be nothing against her even if you are special. Issei, if I want to beat her I need to be faster, so it's all or nothing. Besides, I don't have a child with you yet, so I'm not crazy about dying yet. I'll defeat her no matter what. And without waiting for her to contradict him, he charged Melania again, preparing to defeat her, while Melania's conscience watched as the idiot thought of confronting her without any defense after everything she had told him before. Issei, okay, let's go all out. Melania only launched her slashes, which Issei dodged while trying to counterattack. This time his extra speed gave him more opportunities since he had time between each block he made of Melania's sword with his own, although it was still not enough. After all, she still had the advantage in speed and strength. The second clash of swords between them was much more powerful because this time Issei was closer to her speed. Godfrey was right. Issei knew that if he wanted to win he would have to defeat her in what she does best. That's why he needed to expose himself to dying from a direct hit so that she would have at least a chance. As they continued to clash their swords, Issei began to see Melania's attack pattern. He needed to see every detail if he wanted to beat her, and quickly, since he only had 1 minute and a half to do so before losing the buff that Rennie gave him at the beginning and being at her mercy. Seeing that the situation was pressing, Issei decided to do something stupid and painful, but if it worked it would give him the victory. And in front of everyone he pushed Melania's attack that was headed for his neck, and with his sword he directed it to her shoulder, which ended up pierced by it from side to side. Everyone was exalted while the three regents, being Renala, Godfrey and Morgott, looked at this between terrified and surprised. Rennie in her case just covered her mouth while screaming the name of her beloved, and her eyes threatened to cry for it. But under that everyone saw how Issei after that held the arm with which Melania held the blade with which she pierced him, and without waiting any longer with her sword managed to give him a deep cut in his helmet that split it in half, letting them see the emotionless look she had even though she was crying because her controlled body managed to hurt him by piercing Issei's shoulder with her hands. Issei, seeing her, just dropped his sword and with his free hand just grabbed her head, and under everyone's incredulous gaze he had but Melania, causing her to drop her blade and fall on her back, only for Issei to drop a sticky booby trap on her, leaving her immobile even if she was unconscious. From the headbutt he gave her he did it as insurance. After all, she was a semi-deity, and his wife was there, so she wouldn't run any risk. Issei, it worked at least, but it will leave a mark. Haha, I must thank the old man after all the headbutt I learned from him and his way of fighting, ha ha ha. Issei just laughed loudly to hide the pain he felt, but that didn't last long when suddenly Rennie, who was angry, appeared behind him, and surprising both the people of the kingdom as well as Godfrey and Morgott, just raised her magic staff and hit Issei's head against the ground. Renala, be stronger, daughter. Teach that idiot not to commit such reckless acts or commit suicide in front of us again. Then he will receive my punishment. Godfrey, damn, Issei took out another crazy woman like her. He even learned that from me. Morgott, you really taught him how to head in the middle of a fight, Godfrey? Are you trying to create a mini Godfrey or something? Godfrey, hey, he is my heir after all. If he doesn't have the fighting essence of the lion, then he can't be one. Morgott, you know that if Renala finds out that that reckless act was caused by your teachings, he'll take over leadership sooner than you thought because he won't leave anything of you behind? Godfrey, he won't be buried after all. He's at his academy and we're here, so there's nothing to worry about. Renala, oh, I think so, Godfrey. Godfrey, shit. Renala, we need to talk, Godfrey, just the two of us, and then we'll go get my daughter and that stupid Issei from there. I'm not going to let him fight that thing in that state. Godfrey, wait, you'll make Issei wait in that state. Why don't we go and discuss it later, right? Renala, don't worry, my daughter will treat him after beating him up while I have to take care of a stupid meathead who teaches that receiving attacks just to win is the best option. Morgott, I'll get everything ready for the trip while you chat, ma'am, Godfrey. Renala, thanks, Morgott. Now where were we, Godfrey? Godfrey, Siraj, help. Renala, or your pet won't be able to help you. Godfrey right now must be eating a lot in the kitchen. It's just you and me, so get ready, you damn idiot. Underworld base near the entrance to the abyss. Things suddenly escalated when they saw that Kateria did not want to give them what they wanted, but the intervention of Zeus and Odin made everything difficult for them. Red, who saw this, was starting to get impatient and annoyed, but before he could act, Hades, who was there, released his aura of death, which stopped them immediately while he looked at them with his empty sockets without any hint of emotion on his part. Hades, if you're done playing like children, let's focus on what matters. Remember that even though we fought before because we were enemies and I was weakened, I'm still stronger than you, so stop this stupid tantrum or I'll retire, leaving you alone with this, since your souls would be very useful in my domains if those things eliminate you. Ryu, hey pile of bones, remember I defeated you before and I can do it again if I need to. Hades, speaking of which, as I recall, you and your stupid sister were only able to beat me because the boy Issei managed to seal a part of my power and control in the souls, which gave you the advantage of not having your soul ripped out as soon as you were near me. Izari, you're lying, we defeated you with our strength, he had nothing to do with our victory. Hades, MMMIC, now I understand what's going on here. It seems your stupid mentality is unable to put together the pieces of the truth behind your achievements. Circe, what are you talking about, Hades? Hades, Odin, Zeus, tell me something. Issei was versed in the art of mystical sealing runes, right? Odin, yes, it was, in all types of existing runes as it is known. Zeus, he himself even created others through the knowledge he had of each mythology and era. Ajuka, mystical runes? What kind of magic was that? Hades, ancient magic that needed the signature of its bearer to work. Sometimes runes were used in talismans or they were written in reality using magic as if it were a magic circle. What matters is that those runes, as I remember, there were fences that had special ones that I called the restriction or sealing runes. Basically, they sealed whatever their target was for an estimated time until the user stopped sending energy to it. Azazel, and what importance does that have? As I see it, he was the only one who could use it, and now there is no one else, right? Hades, as I said, his mentality is very decadent. What I'm trying to say is that it's because of his sealing runes that you remain alive today. After all, the abyss appeared as soon as he died, right? So joining points and remembering what he said, according to you, it's obvious that he used those runes in the abyss at some point, tying it to his lifespan. Red, wait, does that mean he was giving his life to keep the chasm closed? But if that's the case, when did the chasm open and why didn't we notice it before? Hades, I don't think he actually knew about this abyss, but on the day the beast was sealed again, he created one of those runes to contain it, but something must have happened and that rune connected with the abyss, which is why the energy of the abyss and the trihexa resonated so much. Kateria, but then how did that happen if he didn't know before doing it? Red, why was the seal he used one that the biblical God used in his life? The words on the net confused everyone by drawing that conclusion out of nowhere. Michael, that is impossible, and no one but Father knew the magic he used. Issei could not know that art of our Father. Hades, it's a good guess. It would also explain why the abyss and the beast seal merged. They were the same seal, After all, if it was sealed before, it was because the old man knew about it, and erased all information about it before sealing it. That's why as soon as the beast was released by rise of him, it began to open as well. So as soon as Issei sealed Trihexa again, the abyss entered into sync and was sealed along with the beast at the same time. That's why Issei's lethargic state was very noticeable, in addition to the fact that at that time his soul was at the threshold of my soul well. Although apparently the very unfortunate man managed to save his soul somehow. Kateria, what did you say? Like his soul isn't dead? Hades, as you heard, demon, his soul is not in my domain, so he did not go to hell. Michael, that's impossible. After all, he committed suicide, so the gates of heaven wouldn't admit him. Ajuka, ha 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 ha. Quetzalcoatl, what the hell is wrong with you, demon? Ajuka, this is so much fun. Ajuka's psychopathic laugh disturbed most who knew his serious and calculating attitude. After all, it was not normal for him to behave that way. Red, this is Ajuka. You know something that we don't? Ajuka, that's obvious. Connect the dots. Issei's soul is neither in hell nor in heaven, but we know that he died releasing the seal where the abyss was stationed. Ryu, so what? Ajuka, now add to that the fact that he possesses the sealing art of the Abrahamic god, which sealed the souls of the celestial dragons in his artifacts. Azazel, don't tell me he's... Ajuka, ha 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 ha, that's why I was laughing. Issei is not dead, or at least most of it. His soul must have had one of those seals that he knew, and he managed to keep it alive somewhere or in an object. That ended up plunging those present into chaos, while Kateria and a couple of women could not fully process it. Their Issei was alive but locked up somewhere. Everyone had varied thoughts, but both Ryu and Izari did not like that. Chapter 9. Izari, stop playing Ajuka. It's impossible for that piece of idiot to be alive. We saw him die like the trash he was. He could never have done something like locking his soul in Hugh. Izari could not stand to hear Ajuka's revelation, so she quickly denied everything while denigrating Issei, but when she was about to finish, a woman shut her up immediately when without hesitation she went up to her and sank her fist into the stomach, sending her against the laboratory study table. And with good reason. After all, Kateria, still in shock by the revelation about her beloved husband and father of her son/daughter who could be alive somehow, could not resist listening to Izari's rotten tongue, which released all her shit against the man she loves. But this, apart from surprising those present, was not wasted by some Sooty. Rias and Ryu tried to go against her when they left the safe zone that were Zeus and Odin and charged in their direction, but it did not end well. Quetzalcoatl, who was between them, stopped Sooty by kicking him in the face that sent him outside. Rias was stopped by Athena herself, who locked her in a circle of chains, while Ryu, thinking that he would arrive prepared an attack, but as before, Thor intervened, sending Jonah at him with enough force to both destroy his armor and stop him from being thrown out of the tent, falling in the middle of everyone, alerting them. Angels, demons, fallen Spartans, Grim Reapers, Amazonians, Asgardians and Yokais looked in that direction. Thor left the tent when Jonah returned to him. No one stopped him. Even the sky of the underworld began to cloud over, indicating that he was serious about this. All the troops retreated but watched the confrontation between Thor and Ryu, god against emperor. Ryu just got up from the hole and reassembled his armor while Thor spun his hammer. Ryu, damn unhappy, I'm tired of you. If you don't want to get out of my way against the hitch Kateria, then I'll take you away with my strength. I'll teach the Asgardians who I am and you'll be the martyr. Thor, ha ha ha, big words for the scum that you are. You don't even have the balls to go against Zeus and the father of all, and you think we will be afraid of you. Hades already told you. He showed us the truth of his fight. You couldn't do anything against him if it weren't for Issei. All your victories are because of him. Without that you would have died, braggart, ha 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 ha. Ryu, that idiot has nothing to do with my achievements. I am the one who defeated the Cow's Brigade. I locked up the beast. I defeated Hades and his stupid group. I did it all alone, while our unfortunate brother was in our shadow. Even my women accepted me over him. Because of that fact I am better than him, and you and nothing will take that away from me. Thor, are you so sure? Then come to my damn fracker and prove it. I'll fry that stupid arrogance with my thunder. Ryu, try it, second-rate Barbara. They both jumped towards each other, but before their blows landed, a pressure loomed over them all, stopping them in place. Red had come out of the store while exuding his power to stop them. His look was quite demonstrative of how he felt. he was irritated by all this. The world was in danger, and everyone was fighting like childish idiots for nothing. Even Sir Shay and Quetzalcoatl, who were nearby, stopped. After all, they had never seen Red so angry. Red, listen to me, you pieces of stupid people. I'm sick of you taking this whole mess as a game. Stop fighting each other like stupid 5-year-old kids fighting over a TOY. The destiny of your entire existence is in danger, so act as you should, or else I'll get down to the gap. This is not my problem. I'm only here because you asked for my support. My duty is to take care of the gap, which is the union to every reality and universe, so I care what happens to you. Act as you should, or I'll leave. Do you understand? Great Red's words left the place in total silence. After all, his aura was strong enough for him to do that. When everyone calmed down, Kateria and the rest left the tent, being secured again by Zeus and Odin, who were followed by several of his troops at her side. After all, some demonic troops were not comfortable with her presence. But the Asgardian and Spartan troops were quite protective of her, so they did not make any move against her. When everyone was near the portal, Issei's familiar, who was in Kateria's clothes watching her closely, felt a quite familiar presence. Ajuka, leaving aside the hypotheses about Issei, we must focus on the abyss. The time is approaching when one of those things will appear, so we must prepare ourselves. According to my studies, what is coming will be the strongest creature to appear there so far, so we must be together to face it. Odin, I'm surprised you were able to foresee the time of appearance and the level of strength of whatever comes out of there. Ajuka, that's why I dedicated myself to analyzing energy samples around him. With that, I was able to foresee this, and whatever is coming is something quite strong, not at everyone's level but at a level of concern. Sigvera, so everyone together against him is the best option, right? Ajuka, exactly. Quetzalcoatl, can you tell us more about that? What is it like, or what kind of power does it have? Ajuka, no, for that I would have to focus on divination, and that is outside my field. I am a scientist, I foresee things, I do not describe them. Tiamat, well, you should do a demon, just saying that doesn't help us much. Red, Tiamat, when did you arrive? Tiamat, a few moments ago. Your power called me. I thought something powerful appeared. Red, I see. Ryu, hey Tiamat, glad to see you. Tiamat, yeah, stay away from me if you don't want to have a bad time, scum. Nix, I like that lizard. Ryu, excuse me? What did you call me? Tiamat, don't bother me, scum. Tiamat passed by and headed towards the group of Zeus and Odin who were guarding Kateria, who was looking intensely into the abyss. Kateria, what's bothering you, Skyrblainer? What do you feel from the abyss? Kateria was talking to Issei's familiar, who had been restless since they left towards the vicinity of the abyss. But she snapped out of it when she noticed how Zeus and Odin stood guard because someone was approaching. Tiamat, hey demon, are you the one who claims to be Issei's partner and mother of his son? Kateria, yes, why? Tiamat, well then you're my target. Everyone was on guard as she unleashed her karma energy all over the place while staring at Kateria. Kateria, aha, and why? She said, releasing her energy as well. Something in her burned when Tiamat said that for some reason. Tiamat, because you stole my dirty demon mate, that's why. Kateria, huh? I see, she said calmly as her energy disappeared. Well, go to hell, fourth grade dragon. Issei is my husband and the father of my children, so stop saying stupid things or I will sweep the entrance to the abyss with you so that the creatures are well received. Do you understand? Tiamat, Great words for a woman who didn't defend her partner, right? Kateria, So that's the one we have, right? So what does the one who didn't even visit him have to say? You come to blame me for that when you didn't even do what I supposedly was your man. The atmosphere quickly turned hostile as they both stared at each other, and their auras collided, cracking the fragile ground at their feet. Even Zeus and Odin had to back down from there because of it. They both stared at each other without giving in. When Red was about to intervene to stop them, they both stopped releasing their energy and stared at each other in silence. Tiamat, I'm glad to know that my other partner's sister is someone who isn't afraid to stand up for our man. Kateria, same here. I didn't expect Issei's second wife to be your karma dragon. Tiamat, ha ha ha, you're funny demon. Obviously I'm the first wife and you're the concubine, so don't joke about it, ha ha ha. Everyone was speechless and frozen by that revelation from both of them. Even Odin and Zeus were petrified, as were many others. Odin, son of a hitch. Zeus, ha ha ha, that idiot really had balls, didn't he? Odin, now I understand why he didn't want to go to brothels. It wasn't just Kateria. Tiamat was also his wife. Zeus, if we get out of here alive, I'll make an altar to him on Olympus. The bastard won it without a doubt. The rest of the audience didn't even come out of the shock, although Ryu wasn't taking it very well, but he was next to Red so he couldn't act like usual after his threat. Kateria, yeah, that place is owned by the mother of his children, and from what she told me you didn't want to have them even though by law I'm the number one wife when it comes to carrying his child, you know. Tiamat, well I guess you won this, Kateria. But that doesn't mean anything after all. That place is by word. In her heart I'm still number one. Kateria, if you dream about that. Some women present came to their senses and went towards both women who claimed to be Issei's wife. Latia, hey, can I ask you something? Tiamat, hump? Speak quickly, I'm with my friend. Latia, well, I wanted to know if what they said was true, meaning you're also a partner of. Tiamat, child bride. Latia, yes, wife, I wanted to know if she was also Issei's wife with Kateria? Tiamat, if it's true, I'm also his wife. I married her and him, the same day, the day before you damned sentenced him. Sigvera, sorry, but we didn't sentence him, or at least not us. That was agreed upon by the leaders Leviathan and Lucifer only, along with the Haida brothers and the council. The rest didn't know anything about this until everything happened. Tiamat, interesting. Kateria, why are you interested in knowing about our relationship? Athena, obviously, both my sister Artemis and I love Issei, but after all this happened we couldn't tell him. Tiamat, ha 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 ha. Artemis, what are you laughing at, Karma Dragon? Tiamat, were you really aiming for my husband? Kateria, our husband. Tiamat, if our. Athena, if we do it and continue to do it now that there is a chance he is still alive. Tiamat, oh? And why do they keep doing it? I think they know that female dragons don't like other dragons messing with our male. Artemis, say it after you're the second wife, you know? We told Kateria that she's carrying her son, not you, second wife. Tiamat, you have ovaries, goddess, I admit it. You know I like you. If we find him and he wants, we can take you as a concubine, matey. Athena, we will take the position of wife 3 and 4. We will not accept anything other than that. Tiamat, wanna bet on that? Athena, no, I'd bet when I don't know if I'll succeed. In this case I know I'll be one of you. Tiamat smiled grimly as Athena and Artemis matched her like three beasts ready to kill each other. Kateria, Tiamat, stop. You know Issei said we weren't the only ones he loved. Tiamat, you take the fun out of everything, Kateria. I remember her words. I just wanted to see if you were really willing to face me if that was the case. Athena, what? Kateria, Issei knew that we weren't the only ones who loved him, but he didn't know if the rest would go with him because of his position in his factions, as in his case being daughters of the leader of Olympus. That's why he warned us that when everyone buried us, women who had feelings for him would appear. Although I suppose he thought it would be when I found out I was pregnant. Tiamat, what a great wife, number one, huh? The husband knew about the pregnancy, but you didn't. I think you failed as a friend. Kateria, you want to fight Lizard? Tiamat, after you have the child, now if I do it Issei will surely get upset. Apart from them, Odin and Zeus were the ones laughing out loud while the rest did not believe this. Even Red was slightly surprised by it. Ajuka, damn man, ha ha ha. I hope he's really still alive. I need to have a chat with him and his wit without a doubt. Hades, I understand you. After all, in the end we found out about everything he did. Hey Nyx? Nyx, what's up, sir? Hades, go with them. Nyx? Hades, don't play innocent. Remember that I feel sorry for the sins. I know that you are also interested in him, especially when he freed you before our fight with the factions. Nyx, thank you. Hades, don't give me the grace. All these sweet feelings make me sick. Nyx, excuse me. Nyx walked out of there towards the group of women while Hades watched that. Ajuka, you knew about your general's taste for your enemy, and you did nothing? Hades, I'm not an idiot. He was my enemy, but I respect him for weakening me like that and facing me when those two idiots thought they'd defeated me. Also, if I managed to make her fall in love with him, I could have him as an ally and in the future return to war against you with him. Ajuka. Hades, ha ha ha. Elden Ring, Godfrey's kingdom. The entire town watched their monarch return with his successor and his wife. Although it was not a presentation event, they did not hesitate to welcome them all. When they arrived at their castle, they all healed Issei while Renala tried to remove the rest of Melinia's curse at the request of her children. While Godfrey went with his son to talk about the act of succession along with the wedding ceremony that would take place in front of the kingdom in a few days for him to take his place, in addition to both going to heal from the punishment of both women. Godfrey, you knew you would be a good successor, Issei. You learned well from me. You know my fighting style, my bravery, and above all my taste for women. Issei, yeah, I feel like you're playing with the latter. Godfrey, and I won't deny it, of all the things you inherited from my training was a taste for women with explosive character? Issei, well, I didn't know any other woman apart from my mother and my sister/wife. That sounded strange. Godfrey, if he did, then before you fall into the worst curse of man, I must show you true happiness. Issei, curse? Which one? Godfrey, getting married, my son. What other deadly curse exists for a man apart from being impotent? Issei, true. Godfrey, so while they're alone, let's go live a life of debauchery, son. I'll show you why they called me the Lion of the Night. Issei, I'm sorry this didn't end well for us, but on the other hand it sounds interesting. Godfrey, that's the attitude, now let's go before. Renala, before Godfrey? Godfrey, shit. Issei, I guess you want privacy, see you. Rennie, where are you going, dear? This is a family reunion, so you're included too, fufufu. Issei. Shit. Chapter 10. Godfrey and Issei were sitting on the floor while the two women in front of them looked at them piercingly from what they heard from their previous talk. To say that both were more than beaten was the least of it. Both were sitting on a medieval punishment table, which was very unbearable to feel while their women talked among themselves deciding what to do. Renala, what are we going to do with this pair of idiots, daughter? Rennie, I don't know, mother. I'm attracted to the idea of making Issei go through your gravity magic training again, only this time 10 times stronger. Issei trembled at that. That was one of the few, but macabre trainings he suffered at the hands of his mother to make his body lighter and stronger in a short time, and Godfrey also knew that 10 times was nothing compared to what Renala could do, as he remembered. While that was happening with them outside, the people of the kingdom were preparing all the preparations for the ceremonies they would have in a few days to crown and unite their new monarchs. They had to say it, they liked Godfrey, so at first they did not think it was a good idea to have his successor now. But with what they saw of him during their fight, they could say that he is not so different from Godfrey, so he could improve much more than their current retired monarch. Many were eager to meet the son of their king. After all, they recently buried him, so their curiosity is enormous. Especially since he was the first normal child in their world to appear in hundreds of years, and especially because he sought to defeat the creature that was inside the great tree to free them from that curse that tormented them and tied them to that warlike world. DXD. The atmosphere among all those present was tense due to the differences they had. Everyone was divided into two sides, those who wanted Issei and those who didn't. Knowing that he could be allied due to his runic sealing ability generated both good and bad expectations between both sides, but leaving that aside, everyone was prepared while they waited for whatever would enter their side from the crack in the abyss. Then they would see what to do about Issei. Now they had to defend their world to have that opportunity. Cat area, when we finish with whatever is coming, I will look for Issei wherever he is. Tiamat, I am counting on you on this, right? Tiamat, you don't need to ask that. I'll go find my male wherever he's locked up. Athena, don't forget about us. We'll go too. He's important to me. And Artemis, I won't let you just keep him. Artemis, besides, between all of us we'll have more opportunities to find him, especially since it seems the other side of all this isn't happy about it. The four looked to their side, seeing how Issei's brothers and his group gave them looks of hatred, especially the brother. They knew that they would try to get into their search, either to stop them or to finish their objective of killing Issei. For their part, Odin and Zeus, although they were close to them waiting to see who came to their world, could not hold back any longer in saying what they thought of Issei after everything they discovered about him regarding his love affairs. Zeus, that bastard had it in store for him. No, I didn't expect him to do it with the dragon of karma out of all of us. Odin, it's surprising, I won't deny it, but we should have known. I mean, between the three of us he was the luckiest when we were partying and trying to pick someone up for the night. Zeus, I don't deny it, Issei had the ability to attract the best women to his side, which surprises me because Search's sister didn't fall for it and went for the other one. Odin, well, Issei knew that messing with her would be more of a headache because of her way of being and acting, so he never tried to be like that with her or her group, as I remember him saying. Zeus, true, I remember that he never acted that way when he was with them. In fact, only we know his Romeo's side because we went out looking for fun. Odin, that's why I don't understand why they said he always tried to get close to them when they made it clear that they loved his brother more than Issei. Zeus, well, I guess Mr. Lies had something to do with it. Surely his brother had lied to win them over. If he could lie about his achievements, that must have been easy to do, especially since those brats are complete idiots. Deceiving them isn't a difficult task. Odin, and the rest, the only one who seems subjective in all this about his conviction is Ayuka. In fact, I dare say that he had nothing to do with it or is interested in him now that we glimpse all his achievements. Who knows? Zeus, I wouldn't be surprised if we find him and he tries to bring him to his side with his niece. Among the Mao, he is the coldest and most intelligent to do that, especially if all his people find out about his inventions. He could gain more standing if he managed to unite him or ally him with him in the underworld. Odin, Issei won't do it. I bet his grudge against all of them is great, but assuming Ayuka wasn't involved in all of it, there may be a possibility. Zeus, we'll see when we find him and bring him back. Everyone was in position because the moment was approaching. The crack began to show signs of activity, so all the troops took position waiting. The crack acted as it normally did. But in a moment everything changed because it began to show irregularities in its shape, suddenly began to release waves of negative energy that caused many soldiers to retreat due to the force of the shock. Red, Beelzebub, what the hell is going on? Ayuka, I don't know, it seems that the rift started trying to create a conduit between both sides temporarily. That's why it's trying to terraform its surroundings with its negative energy. Quetzalcoatl, what the hell do you mean by that? Ayuka, that wants to create a direct path between our world and the abyss temporarily, a dimensional connection hole. I know whatever wants to enter can't do it like the rest of the creatures that came before. It must be a huge group. Searchei, shit, didn't you say before that that shouldn't be possible, even Ayuka? Ayuka, it shouldn't be, but like I said, they were just hypotheses. After all, I have no idea about the other side's situation, so it wasn't a guarantee. That's why it's only temporary, since only one side can keep it stable for a short period of time. Everyone was on guard when the crack began to grow excessively while continuing to release the emitted energy. Kateria's group along with the others were on guard when suddenly Issei's familiar felt something and shot out of Kateria's coat, surprising her and everyone because she began to return to her normal form. And without warning she deployed all her sails while pointing her armament towards the portal. Kateria, Skidbladner, what happens? Odin, looks like he wants us to get on it right away. Zeus, because suddenly. Kateria flew up to the deck with her group, while the rest looked at them and said things that they turned a deaf ear to. When they all went up, the crack began to show an image inside that surprised everyone. It was another world as they supposed. Ayuka was surprised by it, but the next thing scared them all. Thousands of creatures were stationed in that world waiting to enter theirs, all led by several dragons identical to the first one that arrived in their world, especially one that was much larger than the others. All the troops were on alert when several dragons and gargoyles as well as other flying bugs began to approach the crack, wanting to pass by their side. Searchei, everyone on your guard, do not enter this side, the fate of your families is at stake. All the troops began to launch attacks towards the rift trying to bring those things down, but there were too many, so all the troops took the initiative. If they wanted to invade them, then they could do it too. The demons, angels and fallen flew into the rift. The Spartans stayed to defend what managed to get past them due to their lack of air mobility. The Asgardians covered them while the Valkyries went with Odin. Skidbladner, as soon as he noticed that Kateria and her group were above him, he set sail towards the inside of the rift, which generated discontent in Circe and the others who wanted to get on anyway, but he did not allow them, making them fly to accompany the troops in their incursion. Skidbladner quickly crossed the gap between the creatures and began attacking them in the air while those on board did the same. Elden Kingdom Coronation Ceremony. 2 days passed since Issei returned from his raid against Malenia. The townspeople began preparations, so today, 2 days after that, preparations were ready to crown the new king of their town. Many people gathered to attend this long-awaited event. Inside the castle, Issei was next to Rennie and Malenia, who woke up no longer under the influence of that thing in her head that forced her to fight thanks to Renala. The three were preparing for it. Issei and Rennie as the monarchs and Malenia as the new commander of the army at Issei's request due to her ability to move and attack that she demonstrated in her fight. Right now they were heading towards the entrance of Godfrey's castle where the coronation ceremony would take place in front of everyone and Morgoth. Godfrey and Renala were waiting for them to start in front of the entire town. Issei, I don't think I'm ready for this. Rennie, to receive the crown or to address the people? Issei, what do you think? I can face colossal creatures from beyond, even receive blows that could cost me a body part during my fights. Malenia, I confirm that, Rockhead. Issei, shut up, I can face all of that without fear, but addressing thousands of people who expect me to lead them and improve their lives is not my style. I am not a leader, I am a warrior. I am not qualified to rule a kingdom. Rennie, Issei, you may not be the most sensible, mature, and capable person in the world. Issei. Malenia, village. Rennie, but I can assure you that you are the most reckless, noble and brave warrior that I know and love with all my being. Those virtues are the best that these people who have suffered for centuries could ask for. You may not be the perfect king, but you are certainly the most qualified to lead us all. No one apart from you tried to free them all from their suffering. That is why they will value you even with mistakes. That is what life is about, failing and learning, and both of us will walk that path together, as your wife and queen. Malenia, excuse me, I'm here too, you know, Rennie. Rennie, don't get involved in this. It's a conversation between couples, you're not included in this. Malenia. Issei, I think I'll go ahead while they talk. Thanks for your words, dear, I feel better. Issei only left there while Rennie and Malenia were talking to each other. He knew that if they argued and he was included in that argument, nothing would go well for him from experience. So leaving there, he went to the room where his three mentors were waiting for them. When he entered, he saw a scene that since he met them became normal to see in them. Godfrey lying on the floor while Renala looked at him like scum, and a Morgoth sitting while meditating. Issei, how many times did I have to see this before I got used to it enough to consider it normal? Well, mother, you can leave father at least until the whole ceremony is over. Renala, I'll try, but if it continues like this, I don't think I'll be able to keep my promise to you, Issei. Godfrey, help, son. Issei, what did he do now to make this happen? Morgoth, let's just say he put an idea in Melinia's head after you named her your commander and Renala found out. So she confronted him, and the idiot had no better idea than to admit everything and more to try to get away. Issei, that's not logical. Morgoth, it's Godfrey. Logic isn't his strong suit. Issei, tush, what idea did you put in Melinia's head? Renala, the idiot told Malenia when she was still half confused that she should marry you too so that he could live happily with you as his fiancée. The idiot doesn't understand that you're already married to Rennie, and yet he tries to get you to have more wives in your life. Issei, I have a feeling this won't end well somehow.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.